I
And
was just about to say, Rick better
Rick
get
forgot to punch in a name. Yeah, yep, Rick forgot to punch in a name. Oops. Already, no pressure though, Rick. No pressure. And we got bombs.
Ooh, that's actually not bad at all. Since we're gonna need those bombs during the escape to get those 3 chests behind the bombable wall.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually very, very nice to get those early, because backtracking in a randomizer, and you play enough randomizers to know that backtracking is the death of everybody.
Exactly. You want to avoid as much backtracking as possible. That's kind of when you play a randomizer, that's really the key thing. Routing is super, super important. The more backtracking you can avoid, the better you're going to do, the faster you'll finish.
Absolutely, which makes routing a huge, huge deal when it comes to being able to actually complete one of these randomizers. And you'll definitely see that routing, can be a huge boon if you get lucky in your routing, or a huge detriment if you, get unlucky in your routing. And there's really not a whole lot you can do about it except, whoopsie.
Yeah, indeed. That's the nature of randomizers. Sometimes you have to take a gamble and you don't know exactly where things are going to be, so you just kind of got to play the odds sometimes. You think about what is the most likely place to find a good item just based on the number of chests you can open. And that's where, you'll see a lot of difference between the newer players and the more experienced players. Is the more experienced players will be able to think of those odds and remember all the places where a new player might overlook and miss something.
Absolutely. And Impetrix, you're asking who is who. I am the Greenleaf Effect. The other gentleman you hear commenting, that is Dorkmaster Fleck. And we, as well as you, are dealing with the hiccuping, not sure what's happening. We're pretty sure Link is practicing to be a part of a robot flash mob, but we'll confirm that a bit later.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of choppiness there on Rick's stream. Looks like he might be dropping some, but it does seem to still be synced, so we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, Link apparently is part of the Robotron capitals here. Not exactly sure why robots are in Hyrule. I'm pretty sure Robo Chocobo was in Final Fantasy Adventure, but that's a different game altogether.
Well, we're dealing with ROM hacks when you get into randomizers, so anything's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, looks like we got some more bombs here.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with it. And I do love the, hey, as much as I live in New England, so throw in the Patriots comment out there, Jackhammer. It might be grounds for, you and I to have some words here. That's a reason to go, but luckily for you, I'm not a Patriots fan, so you're all set.
Are you not a Pats fan, even though you live out there?
No. You see, let's put it this way. You calling me a Pats fan because I live in New England is like me saying you're addicted to Tim Hortons because you're Canadian.
Well, that's just true, though. You have them on every corner,
Oh, and there's the Sanctuary Heart right away in Princess Zelda's room. So we're going to get that out of the way now so we do not have to worry about Sanctuary Heart anymore.
Yep, that's right. And that's not just any regular heart container. For those who don't know, the reason we know that is the heart that is normally in the sanctuary after you finish the escape sequence is because their life was completely refilled after they got it. And that is the only heart that will do that. When you pick up a heart container that would normally be found in a boss room, it only gives you the one heart. It doesn't refill your health completely.
And the reason being that, of course, is because picking up the crystal does that.
That's right. So the designers just figured, hey, we don't need to code that in because the crystal's going to do it right after. But they didn't count on us shuffling their game around in all different ways they didn't intend.
Yeah, they never intend on that.
I always wondered what people might think of that if some of the original developers could see what people are doing to their games with these randomizers. Do you think they'd enjoy it? Would they think it's cool, or would they think it's blasphemy?
Well, from what I heard about Miyamoto, he would probably find it ingenious.
I'd like to think so. I think he's the kind of guy that would appreciate the creativity and ingenuity that goes into creating these randomizers. It really does take a lot of skill.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you need to give shout-outs to not just, the creators of this randomizer, but anybody who's gone and taken the time to find a game, figure out its intricacies, learn the code, and to go in and randomize it. So I know all of us who've played any type of randomizers say thank you for doing it. It's given, more entertainment value to all of our favorite childhood games.
Absolutely. It increases your replayability immensely. And like I said, I've become a huge fan of these since I first discovered them. I think my introduction was probably the Zelda 1 randomizer tournament last year, so ever since then I've discovered quite a few randomizers for some of my favorite games, and they're just a blast. I absolutely love them.
Yeah, I might have had something to do with that tournament last year. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I think I remember you being in that tournament.
Yeah, I just sat there and talked a lot and told people, no, you're doing it wrong. Don't go into this room, go into that room, go into this room. I wouldn't do it that way, I do it this way. Having never played a randomizer in my life.
So, nothing much has changed then over the past year.
Pretty much, yeah. Now I play, I've played a couple of randomizers, but aside from that, I basically just spout out, talk nonsense, and people apparently like listening to it, so we've got another heart piece here, it's a second heart piece, and nothing crazy. Boo.
Yep, just some arrow upgrade, a bomb upgrade. We already had bombs, so not a big deal. Interestingly, it looks like both players are taking the other bomb hole out of the north end here. I believe that is slightly faster, but sometimes you might want to conserve bombs. These players, I think, have enough, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the 6 bombs does make it a little bit easier to go that way. The interesting thing is going to be not having a lot of rupees. You may see Fred opt to go down to the Ice Rod Cave in that area, heading towards, instead of going to Kakariko Village, just because of the rupee count here. Rick, I'm not sure if he's going to do that or not. Yeah, Fred opting to save and quit. Fred's going down to Ice Rod Cave. So is Rick, based on the rupee counts. Wow.
Yep, I was just going to ask you if you thought that they were going to do that. And since they don't have a bottle for the sick kid and they have very little rupees, I think this does probably make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually agree with this because, you want to be able to get as much as Kakariko Village done as possible. Now, there are a bunch of rupee chests in the game, so you're more than likely going to end up with it, but this just guarantees when you get to Kakariko, you're good. You're not going to have to farm rupees and all that. So I like this call based on utilizing what you have in front of you and your resources, and they are rewarded with the Mirror Shield.
Ooh, very nice. Maximum shield upgrade. If this was the new progressive logic, that would only be the tiny shield.
Right, but we're not progressive here. We're stuck back in the old logic.
Unfortunately, I hope we get to see that eventually in this, because I think it's really.
And it's one of those things where, randomizers evolve, just like, last year during the Zelda 1 randomizer tournament, I see a heart piece underneath the water, and Fred's going to absolutely pick that up.
Yep, definitely.
There's only certain things the game can do. Now the game can randomly generate its own dungeon shape, so we might eventually get to that point in Link to the Past. I doubt it, because just of the nature of how that game works. And hey, great fish rescue!
Looks like we are carrying some fish.
Oh no! No! Crap!
Save the fish, Rick! He saved the fish!
Save the fish! Yes!
I love it.
Yay! We saved the fish!
We rescued the fish. It looks like you didn't get anything for it, though.
Who cares? We saved the fish. And the baby Moldorms treating Fred like an internet troll, tossing him into the hole, and that is going to be game over. So that's a very costly death for Fred. The Moldorms taking victim number 1 here. If you had mini Moldorms in the office pool, you win.
Ooh, yeah, very unfortunate there. Looks like Rick is being a little extra careful there, taking them out with bombs. He's only on half a heart there. So let's see what he gets rewarded with in the cave here. Another bomb upgrade. Ooh,
hammer! And boots!
And the boots!
Wow, that's
very
huge
nice.
Death for Fred. An absolutely devastating death for Fred there, as Rick's going to have the advantage of having early boots and early hammer. But Fred's going to get them right back.
Yeah, it looks like he's going right back in.
Yeah, so just the fact that he's had to come back here and do it again, that does give Rick a little bit of advantage, as you can see here.
Indeed, I think he should have no trouble this time. I think he's being a little extra careful there.
He's going to have to be. He's only got, 1 heart left, so Mini Moldorms could claim yet another victim here.
Ooh,
and yes, they do. Wow, Mini Moldorms not liking Fred at all today. This is awful.
They are being vicious tonight, and I was a little bit surprised. I thought he wouldn't have a problem because he could do the bomb strat that you saw Rick doing, but he opted to go over there and try to sword slide instead.
And the Ice Rod Cave still containing something blue. We have the blue tunic now, though, at this point. So right now we've got something old with the fighter sword, something new with the mirror shield. The only thing Link's missing is something borrowed, so he needs to get the ocarina so he can have the duck.
And then we have the something blue. Very nice.
Yep, I went there. And it looks like we're getting the fake flippers set up, and Rick not quite getting fake flippers. Looks like he's going to try and set it up with the grass tile here. And Fred, are you kidding me? Fred, all of the deaths.
Wow, all of these deaths for Fred. I almost wonder if he shouldn't maybe just give up on that cave and go back and check Kakariko Village or something.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. Rick, however, is getting trolled by fake flippers over here. So all the time that Rick had gained by Fred dying here now 3 times on his way to get the boots and the hammer, Rick was losing a little bit of it there as he was trying to get fake flippers, but now does manage to pick those up, and we are going hobo hunting.
Yep, and we also are going to get to see, hopefully, did we get to see what was on the island there?
I was too busy watching making sure Fred didn't die.
He didn't quite go over there, I think.
And Fred finally putting his bombs to good use, and he's going to be rewarded with hammer and boots. And we're going to see what the hobo hiding under the bridge has for us.
Come on, hobo, give us something good.
How about the D?
Ooh, the bow. Very good. That's quite good indeed.
So he really was a hobo.
It is the hobo. So I'm going to guess that they are probably going to do... I don't think either of them has opened their map yet to check if there are crystals and pendants here or what the mapping is. But I'm going to guess that they'll probably go check out Eastern Palace since they have the bow. And maybe not, because it is a pendant.
Eastern red pendant, but more importantly, Desert Palace is Crystal 6, and Tower of Hera is Crystal 3. And ooh, Fred getting the mirror. So all that time Fred took getting the boots he's going to use to reflect on his mistakes.
Indeed he will. It looks like he's learning a bit from it there, checking one of the spots that Rick hasn't gotten around to yet since getting the boots. Although Rick is now going to check behind Shahabadu and see what's there.
Shahabadu. I love the name Sahasrara game, one of my personal favorites. And Sahasrara has the flippers, the boomerang, and a red rupee.
Ooh, very nice. So that's actually quite interesting. That does point you in the direction of the hobo, which if you didn't do the fake flipper trick, you would get the bow off of that. So that's interesting.
And I want you to keep track of what the lumberjack item was. It was the ether medallion. So it could be potentially that Agahnim is required because ether was there. So we'll have to pay attention when we get to the Dark World to see if Meyer and Turtle Rock are required, and if so, which medallions are going to open them out.
Indeed, yeah. I don't think we'll be finding that out for a little while yet, but that will be quite interesting to see.
Yes, it will. Fred now going to check out the Lost Woods as Rick does what you intended he would do, is go to the Eastern Palace when he has the bow. Which is very interesting, though, because Eastern is a pendant dungeon.
Yeah, that's quite interesting that he went in there. I like Fred's play, I think, of going and doing the sort of more traditional starting route and taking the Lost Woods and assumingly going to Kakariko, although Rick now getting the red tunic.
That's going to help a lot because I know with both of these players, we've seen Fred going out of his way to pick up heart pieces and things of that nature. So the extra defense for Rick is going to be huge. I know whenever I get extra defense playing randomizers, it allows me to be slightly more reckless than I would be, and that's going to be a huge boon, especially only having 5 hearts right now to start.
Absolutely. Finding extra defense early on is one of my favorite things when we do the Zelda 1 randomizer. You know, you get an early red ring in that. I am super thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Fred here in the upstairs or downstairs of the house in Kakariko here, going to be rewarded with some love, some rupees, a bonk, more rupees, lots of rupees, more rupees, and, well, whatever's here in the back room, because, as we all know, all the fun happens in the back room.
Indeed, looking like some well-needed hearts on Fred's end there. Those would have been quite useful when he was in the mini Moldorm cave.
Absolutely, although Fred taking him there didn't find anything he needed, though, so we could say he was looking for love in all the wrong places.
Indeed. Although he did find 100 rupees, which is interesting, because if they had gone this way at the very beginning, they would have been able to get the required rupees in order to get the item from the merchant.
And now we're going to take a look at what the well is going to contain for us.
Ooh, the shovel.
So they dug the well and just left the shovel down here. Interesting.
Interesting. We might have a fetch quest going on. I hope we get to see one of those as well. I always love when those happen.
I'm a huge fan of fetch quests. I love, the fetch quests, the chain reactions, all of that fun thing is definitely good to see. I kind of want to see the shovel dig up the mushroom, which leads to something required. Unfortunately, paying 100 rupees to get 20, somebody just was the victim of a Ponzi scheme.
Yep, we got some life lessons there. And Fred's gonna go into the chicken hut here. Oh, trying to get that chicken in the right wall there, didn't quite get it. But rewarded with 300 rupees, so he's getting a pretty good amount of money here. Yeah, he might go to King Zora sometime soon.
Hey, he's got enough rupees for it. The thing with King Zora, though, is you try to want to avoid Zora until you have the flippers, just because there's the ledge item. But we know all Fred has to do is go pay a visit to the only man in the game older than he is, which is Sahasrara.
Indeed, and once he does that and gets the flippers, then he might feel like checking that. Or he might go into Eastern like Rick does. Now, this is interesting that Rick is actually going all the way through Eastern, it looks like.
Well, we have found everything. We found the map, we found the compass, we have found the big key. So the Armoses are guaranteed to drop an item. And speaking of dropping items, the library is dropping gloves like it is its job. We have got the Titan's Mitt.
Oh, that's going to be very helpful. That's going to open up a lot of things once we find the Moon Pearl, since they've already got the mirror.
So yeah, that was definitely a hands-on sort of library there. I'm not sure they want you to return that book, but we'll get back to you on that.
Puns, people. We have puns all night long.
That's what we're here for.
And it looks like, is he going to check the digging item in the grove?
He is here, so he might as well. It's a quick little stop here, and worst comes to worst, you don't need it, but you checked it, so now you're not going to be figuring out what you want to do, as we are trying to avoid the ostrich here, and we are rewarded with some more explosives. So apparently, all of the humans in Hyrule are terrorists, as Link's uncle was having some bombs, the Ocarina kid's having bombs, Apparently, they're just preparing for the Great Armos Uprising, but again, we'll get into that later.
Oh, be careful, Rick. He's getting bodied a bit by the statues here.
Yeah, let's take a look and see how Rick does the Armos fight, as Fred is going over to the King's Tomb and missing the first bonk, so add 1 to your bonk counter, everybody.
Looks like Rick is doing pretty good on the Armos fight. Very nice. And a bomb upgrade for his...
Yeah, red pendant there, but I would like to point out how creepy Fred getting a heart in King's Tomb is. Think about that for a second, because that's where somebody is buried.
It's the King's heart. So it looks like Eastern Palace not exactly paying off that much for Rick. He does get the red tunic out of the deal, which is pretty good for if your combat's not the best, but nothing really exciting item-wise. And it looks like crazy. Fred is going up to Death Mountain now since he's got the mitts.
Yeah, I mean, having the mitts opens up a little bit of Death Mountain here, and I do like the call here. We know, of course, that going to see Sahasrara is the correct call instead of this other old man. But, it is what it is. Rick is also going to get the mirror now, so all kinds of fun options here, as we do have the option to at least get to the Tower of Hera at this point, which we do know, in fact, is a crystal.
So now we've got one old man leading another old man. Is this like the blind leading the blind?
Either the blind leading the blind or the deaf leading the blind. I'm not entirely sure.
No, the old man has bombs too. Everyone's got bombs tonight.
Well, I mean, the way Hyrule is, there's all these caves you have to bomb into, so everyone just being prepared in case they need to, access the cave for hiding from, these boulders falling, the Great Armos Uprising, all that fun stuff.
And it looks like Fred is going to continue up here towards Tower of Hera, and that is also a crystal, so he does not have a fire source for it, though, so he may opt to just check and see if he's able to get the items, if there's anything hidden in the basement.
Yeah, the basement's the only thing you need the fire source for. You don't actually need fire source to complete Hera, just to get the item in the basement. And so as long as the item in the basement's the map or the compass, then we're fine.
Yeah, and that may be what he's gambling on here, which is a pretty decent gamble. So since it's a crystal dungeon anyway, I do like going in here and possibly polishing it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick going in, avoiding the 10 arrow drop as he drops down the hole in Lost Woods, and Fred is going into Tower of Hera as we predicted.
Yeah, let's see if he finds anything good in here.
Well, we have a boss key.
So that's good. That means he can complete the dungeon.
If that is good, and Fred now again is hoping that the chest in the basement doesn't contain anything that he's going to need. And seeing a blue rupee there is very good because it does increase the likelihood of the basement chest being, again, a moot point.
Yep, you want to see the map or the compass down there, ideally. And it looks like Rick is going to now pay a visit to Kakariko Village, so he's going to find everything there.
Yeah, so Rick does have the advantage here. That early Sahasrara definitely paying dividends. The flippers here are the advantage right now that Rick does have. The boomerang, not really so much. It's definitely just those flippers. And ultimately, going over to Sahas Eastern Palace did reward him with the red tunic.
Indeed, yeah. So he's got definitely the defense advantage here, the advantage for combat. And since he has the flippers, you know, I might want to see if he goes over to take a look at what's in Zora's domain, but he's still a little low on rupees. But I think he'll find some more soon.
Looks like Fred was either trying to set up for a bomb jump or a hover. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to pull off there, but either way, it didn't work.
No, unfortunately not. He might have to go up and fall down to the chest the intended way.
Kind of like how Rick's falling down the well.
Everyone's just falling tonight.
Hey, you know, sometimes it's okay to fall for people.
Oh, and it looks like Fred is going to go upstairs and fall down the intended way, so there we go.
Well, considering he's at 1.5 hearts, bomb jump probably not a good idea, considering it's probably going to kill him.
Yeah, oh, there are a bunch of hearts in the pots here that he can use to refill, so that's good.
And rewarded with the compass. So now there is a 50-50 shot that the chest in the basement's going to have an item. It's all going to depend on what Mr. Moldorm drops.
Yeah, indeed. We are hoping to not see the burrito here.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not Taco Tuesday.
And there's the money for Rick from the chicken house, so he might think that he should go pay a visit to King Zora now. We'll have to see what he does now.
I mean, it's not a bad call, all things considered. He can also go to Desert because, I mean, he can't quite complete Desert, but he can definitely go over and take a look-see.
He could take a look-see. He doesn't have the book to get in there, but he could at least know what's on the ledge, and he could check the cave in the northeast there.
Moldorm being very, very trolly there, sticking on the left-hand side, the small side of the platform, as Fred trying to goad him in with a shiny sword.
Yeah, this might be one of the first races in this tournament I've seen in a while where we're fighting Moldorm with the fighter's sword. Usually when I see people go in here, they have the butter sword or the tempered sword, and Moldorm just doesn't stand a chance.
And Rick has gone to the library and picked up the gloves. And oh god, Moldorm again! Fred is just
Fred taking a fall there from Trolldorm.
Yeah, Mini Moldorm's beating Fred. Mama Moldorm beating Fred. It's just a bad day to be Fred.
These Moldorms, man, no respect for the elderly, I tell you.
I know, right? I mean, even with eyes that big and googly, you think they could see that. So, of course, at this point, the Fred's going to have to take out his revenge on Papa Dorm, which, of course, is Moldorm, too.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they have when they get to that point. And it looks like Rick is going to do the shovel in the grove, so he's just going to find some more bombs. Now, the next question, where is he going to go? He doesn't know it right now, but that one advantage he does have in the flippers mean that if he goes and checks King Zora, he might find something that Fred might not get for a little while.
And a good thing for Fred, basement not required. Bad thing for Fred, it's a red rupee.
Yep, and it looks like we've got just a bomb upgrade on the island there in Lake Hylia.
That's slightly disappointing. But yeah, it looks like Rick is going to hop into the world portal. And, well, we're going to see a man about a fish. Or is it a fish about a man?
And we're going to see a fish about something. It just depends on whether that something is worthwhile. And hopefully while he's in here, he'll also take a look at the side here. And, ooh, the Tempered Sword.
He's definitely going to go pick up that. So even if King Zora has nothing, this trip will be well worth it for Rick. Upgrading the offense not once but twice. Fred also now sitting there. Blue Jellyfish going shocking. Stops us to have a little stare down. And, well, Link wins this stare down, but not by much.
Let's see what King Zora gives. Ooh, the Mushroom. We got a fetch quest.
Interesting. So pay a fish, get a mushroom.
Well, you know, the Zoras have been falling on hard times, so they've turned to dealing drugs.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, that's definitely true. Now, if we get money for the mushroom, we'll know that we're just the middleman.
Oh, that'll be really good. Let's see what the witch gives him. I think is he going to go to the witch? It looks like he might be. He's going to the sanctuary.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, with what Rick has, I mean, he knows he can't beat Desert. He can go up to Death Mountain to get to do Tower. So, I mean, there's that. He can do go to Dark World and check things out there. I mean, there's all kinds of options that Rick has at this point.
Yeah, he has some spots of Dark World open to him, but not until he finds the Moon Pearls, he's going to really be able to open that up.
Let's take a look at here with this cave, and Fred taking out his frustration on all of these mini Moldorms. And shield we don't need. Hey, there's some magic powder. So unfortunately,
that could come in handy.
Yep, so that could definitely come in handy. I know Fred loves using it to get some berries, and there is an item right there.
Ooh,
Fred...
I love lamp.
Yep, I know for a fact that Fred loves getting the lamp because he still does not like doing dungeons in the dark, so the lamp is a huge, huge thing for him. He's going to be very, very happy to find that.
Indeed, I wouldn't either. As being not a practiced Link to the Past player, I'm definitely not capable of doing those rooms in the dark.
Nope, and no, we are not the middleman in a drug deal. I'm not sure what we consider the heart container, though.
It's just a Pizza Hut, which does make sense.
Mushrooms on pizza,
drunk,
yeah.
You might want some pizza.
Yeah, absolutely. Mushrooms on pizza, I am all set. And speaking of things we're going to be all set with, Fred paying a visit to the other old man, so he's going to get some flippers. Why one old man is giving another old man some flippers, I have no idea. And Fred ran into Sahasrara's text. No, Fred, no. You know how crazy old men can get. You know how they never shut up.
Don't ask him about his life story.
Oh, God, no. Whatever you do, don't agree to go out for coffee.
Interestingly, when we mentioned before about the progressive logic in the new version of the randomizer, that's another thing that the new version of the randomizer has is Shahabadu's text is changed to be very short. So if you happen to run into him, you won't lose nearly as much time.
I love how Shazarazade's name changes every time we get to him.
Indeed, I'm taking that one from Cal, one of the earlier restreams. I liked his version of that.
No, true. No, I do love listening to Cal. What I also love is watching Rick go up to Death Mountain and do Tower of Hera, as Fred is going to go and discover the hobo.
Indeed, so now he's going to get the bow, which means we might see him possibly pay a visit to Eastern, but I'm not sure. They're still looking for the Moon Pearl, which I'm starting to suspect may be on the pyramid.
At this point, it's either pyramid or, pyramid, the item, it could still be in desert, technically. Desert's still fine. There are accessible chests in desert.
There are, yeah. They could check the cave in the northeast there, but they don't even have the book, so they can't get into Desert Palace at all, so they couldn't get any of the chests in there or the item on the cliff.
No, that's true. You're right. I forgot about that.
So yeah, it could be in that cave in desert, but I'm getting suspicious that that it might be on the pyramid or something good maybe on the pyramid. So we might see Agahnim being required here.
And, well, there is one other option that was just brought up in the chat, and good thing Amazing Amphros brought it up is we have the hammer and we know the powder is accessible. Moon Pearl could be in Batman's cave.
That is true. That is true. It is in play in this case. You're right. That would be pretty rare, but since you have the Titan's Midnight hammer, you can get there. That's an interesting thought. It looks like now Fred's going to be getting the mushroom from King Zora, so he'll probably go turn that in and get his pizza. But before that, he's definitely going to go down and get the temperate upgrade here, so that'll be a nice upgrade for him.
Yeah, so both runners with the temperate sword now. That's going to make things a little bit easier. So Fred will have the fun little option of bosses with level 1 sword. He will have at least Rick will have a 1 with that category. So will Fred. So I'm getting all myself confused because palaces and pendants and crystals and blech.
Indeed, looks like Rick's now paying a visit to the Tower of Hera, so he's going to have words with Moldarm as well. We'll see if he has more luck than Fred does.
Yes, Hallie. Red Mail was in Eastern Palace, and Blue Mail was in the Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah, interestingly, Fred hasn't been to either of those. Now, Eastern Palace, I could blame him for not going to, since it's a red pendant dungeon, so probably a bit risky to go there. But the Ice Rod Cave, definitely worth checking, so he'll probably find the Blue Mail, I would guess.
Yeah, but he's not going to go out of his way just to go over there for the Ice Rod Cave. Until he exhausts all other options, there's not going to definitely be a way to do that, as Rick is going to have a much easier Moldorm fight with the Tempered Sword than Fred did with the Fighter Sword. And look, 2 swipes, googly eyes, go a spinny spinny, here we go.
Yep, one spin and 1 swipe, and you're good. That's normally what I'm used to seeing from Moldorm fights in this tournament so far. Typically, people have been pretty over-equipped when they go in there.
Yeah, it's got to be interesting, being all this levels of over-equipped going into these and then going back to running the regular game day. Oh, I have to do this how?
And now, where is Fred heading? Looks like he's heading back to Kakariko.
Is he checking? He's checking Batman's cave.
Oh, he is! Oh, this is going to be interesting. We'll see if AA was right.
Yeah, this is very interesting as Rick is doing his Death Mountain exploration. Fred is checking Batman's cave.
Oh, I'm very intrigued to see what's in here, because if there is nothing in here, they could still check that cave and desert, but other than that, the pyramid seems to be the obvious play.
Yeah, well, if it's anything like the last race, but hopefully we don't have an allergy to Agahnim like we did last time. Nope, just a red rupee.
Just red rupees.
No, the Moon Pearl cannot be in the basement of Tower of Hera. That's the map in the basement of Tower of Hera.
Yes, we know that has to be the map because we've seen the compass and the other item chests in Tower of Hera already. So by process of elimination, the map is definitely in the basement.
Right. And here's the other thing is because we do have gloves and hammer, we don't need to kill Agahnim to check what the pyramid item. No, we do because we don't have Moon Pearl. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. We
That's
Moon Pearl to go in there. The Moon Pearl is the key thing that we seem to be missing right now. That will blow this thing wide open.
Yep, Fred swimming over to Ice Rod Cave now. He'll be very happy to find the Blue Mail.
Yes, definitely. Since I think both of these players are perhaps a little bit less experienced with combat in this game than people who speedrun this a lot. So I think they're going to really like having the extra defense. I know I would.
I was going to say, I know I would too. And Rick now up on Death Mountain does go ahead and pick up the powder and the lamp. He's also going to be very, very happy to have lamp because, as we said, doing dungeons in the dark, darn dirty, dashly no fun. I was trying to think of a bunch of D words, but I really couldn't. I lost it there.
It really is, and at least the lamp was not in a super trolly place this time like the last race.
True. Now, the fun, interesting thing is going to be, what if the book is the pyramid item, and then you need that to go in the desert, which has the, the Moon Pearl.
That is a possibility. We're going to find out because it looks like Fred's going to kill Agahnim.
Yep, and I do want to point out that we are getting our daily dose of Bunny Rabbit here, so for all of you animal lovers, ooh and ah, Bunny Link.
Yep, looks like Rick is doing the Super Bunny. Everybody spam your Bee Bunny emotes.
Alrighty, so for those of you who are wondering what this randomized is, you can go ahead and hit !randomizer in the chat to get an explanation on what is going on here in the Link to the Past randomizer.
You can also get a link to the site where you can check out the randomizer and try it for yourself, because it's really cool.
It is really amazing, and we're getting some rabbit bunny pushes here, and getting some arrows, and another Pizza Heart for our friend Little Bunny Foo-Foo.
All right, nothing much going on there. Now, interestingly, no, you don't need the lamp. I was just going to say, do you need the lamp to go through Aghanim's tower? You don't, because in the casual mode, you have the lamp effect in the light world.
All right, so Turtle Rock is definitely required, as we just saw from Rick. We also saw that Swamp was a pendant. What was the medallion there on Turtle Rock? I didn't catch it.
That looked like bombos for Turtle Rock, I believe.
Bombos, okay. So that's good. So at least right now, Ether not required. Could still be required for Meyer. Oh, was it Ice that was the pendant?
Chat says Meyer and Ice are pendant.
Okay, so that's good then. Ether may not be required. Still depends.
Although, Meyer is the green pendant, so that would unlock Shahabadu's item. So if that's something good, we might see Meyer end up being required. I kind of hope that happens.
True, true. And we still don't know what's hiding on the Master Sword pedestal. So that's also a thing.
No, they did not pick up a medallion already, Jan Solo. We saw the Ether medallion at the Lumberjacks. So that might be a thing that they need to pick up by killing Agahnim.
Yep, and we have both of our runners here saying hi in the Hyrule Castle as Fred is making his way across the narrow bridge, and Rick is going to kill the Golden Ball and Chain Troopers.
Yep, looks like they both come to the same conclusion that they need to go kill Agahnim and see what is on that pyramid. TGE is commentating, so pedestal is confirmed.
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer the questions in chat about why they can't access the pyramid, without the Moon Pearl, we can't use any items with Bunny. I mean, unless you want to go full-on Super Bunny glitch, which I don't think either of our runners know how to do. So in that case, Agahnim is required to check what the item is. And at this point, we can pretty much guarantee it's going to be something like the Moon Pearl or the book, things like that.
I would say almost certainly it's going to be some progression item on that pyramid that they're going to need.
Yeah, or a hook shot for hook shot game. I mean, there's all kinds of options here.
Exactly, yeah. There are multiple progression items that they need that would open some stuff up there. So, like I said, virtually guaranteed something good is on that pyramid.
Well, it's either something good or something trolly. Oh, I do agree with AA. The flute could also be fun to get. That would also give us access to desert.
It would, yes, since we have the mirror and the Titan's mitt.
But here it comes, Fred taking down Agahnim, getting the spin around Aruni of death, and we are seeing adorable little bunny Foo-Foo, and we're going to take a look and see what the pyramid has for us. What is it? 300 rupees! Desert Cave!
Wow! Did not see that one coming. Wow, then where are these items?
I think it has to be Desert Cave?
Yeah, the Desert Cave is one of the only places they haven't checked. Well, this seed is not being very nice so far.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Agahnim's cave.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably where they're going to go next. I expect. Oh, Fred looks like he's going... Oh, he hasn't been to Eastern yet.
No, so Fred's going to check Eastern. So Rick does have the small advantage here, having already done Eastern. So yeah, in Fred's, in what Fred knows, Eastern is the right call for him. He's going to get rewarded with the red mail.
Yeah, we know, since Rick went through there already, that there are no progression items in. But from Fred's point of view, this is the correct play, even though it's not actually going to pan out for him. Although I'm sure he's going to appreciate having the red mail.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this point, yeah, something has to be in Agahnim's cave.
Yep, it looks like that's got to be the case, yeah. So I'm assuming that Rick is probably going to go right there when he sees what's on the pyramid. And Fred probably will as soon as he's done with Eastern Palace.
Bonk Rock was mirror, and King's Tomb was a heart piece.
Yeah, this is getting quite interesting at this point. So it's just coming down to who's going to find the next major progression item first and sort of blow this seed wide open.
So Rick increasing his bonk count there, running into the fence a couple times while waiting for Agahnim to twirl around and disappear. Rick, however, going to be very disappointed when little bunny Fufu comes across his 300 rupee treasure trove.
Yeah, I know. I was certainly surprised to see that. I thought for sure something good was going to be on the pyramid.
Yeah, definitely. And Rick's got to be like, how? What? Why?
I think he's doing a Rick Howe right now.
Either that or cursing my name, one of the two.
Blame TGE. All right, so let's see if Rick heads to Desert now. If he goes back to Link's house. Yeah, yes. I think that is what he's doing.
Yeah, Zora was the mushroom.
Yep, and the mushroom led to a Pizza Hut.
Yeah, so for those of you who are just getting here, we are 41 minutes in, and we do have quite a bit of progression items, as you can see there in the bottom tracker. The one thing that we are missing here is the Moon Pearl, and without the Moon Pearl, we do not have access to anything in Dark World, really, because we cannot use items, save for, of course, the mirror. So without access to that, Dark World is not accessible to us at all. At this point, we have only one option left for a progression item. Not that it's going to be, it might be what we're looking for in the Moon Pearl. It could be the book. It could be the Ocarina. It could be the hookshot. There's all kinds of things this could be. But the only thing we're guaranteed is a progression item.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be something here. Let's see what it is.
It's the Ocarina!
It is the flute. That is probably the most interesting one.
It is, because that means we have to take the back entrance into Desert Palace.
Indeed, yeah. Now, so they can get up to at least to the item on the cliff there to Desert Palace and get in and check it out there without having the book. That's not normally something you see having to be required, but it is certainly possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, now coming up, we already had your Bee Bunnies in chat, but now coming up, once Rick gets to Kakariko, is my personal favorite emo we have over here. So as Rick is going to go up and play the flute for the pedestal, or the ocarina, excuse me, can we get some swag ducks in chat, everybody?
It's time for Swag Duck. Now, the other thing is they can actually finish off Desert as well, since they have the lamp and the Titan's Mitt. So they can use the back entrance to basically get through the whole thing of Desert, I believe.
I don't know all the pathing through. It's been a long time since I played through this, but I believe you are correct.
Yeah, because you need at least the power gloves to get into the second part of the dungeon where the boss is, since you need to lift the rocks up. And you need a fire source in order to light the torches to get in there.
Right.
And it looks like Rick is going to do exactly that. Let's see if he checks... Well, it looks like he didn't go and take a look at what the medallion was for Meyer. I would have been curious to know.
Well, there's the book
is on the cliff.
Okay, that's interesting.
That is interesting. So you had to take this back way into the desert here, because you couldn't get into Desert without the book, and it was on the cliff.
Right, but now the book opens up a couple other options. Ether Tablet, Bombos Tablet.
Definitely, yeah, we've got options now. So this is going to be a bit linear, perhaps, with what you have to do, but a very interesting progression in the seed so far.
Absolutely, and Fred's going to go ahead and pick up the pendant from Eastern Palace there. It's going to be the red one, as Rick is going to the Northwestern Cave. And, ooh, Fire
Rod! That's definitely going to be required, because I believe Skullwoods is a crystal, is it not?
Skullwoods would have to be a crystal if Meyer and Ice Palace are pendants.
Yes. Yes, and we know for sure Turtle Rock is required as well, so they're going to have to find the Ice Rod while they're at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Rick does. Rick is actually going to go into Desert Palace and check all the chests before he goes into the boss part there.
Well, you might as well at this point. I mean, you still need the big key anyway, so you might as well go ahead and check this out. This is a crystal, so you definitely want to do it while you're here. I mean,
it is, and it was Crystal 6, I believe, is the palace. So it's one of the ones that you're going to need for the big fairy. And it looks like the gloves are on the mantle there, or the torch.
Yeah, but we don't need those. Although in new logic, that would be the second set of gloves we had. Interestingly enough, and Rick getting trolled by the enemies there. The iframes not letting him step on the switch. Getting the big key for his trouble though. I'm not sure I want my reward to be a giant key after getting bopped around by a bunch of big old ugly levers.
Indeed. Now, interestingly, he's leaving now. Is he going straight to the boss? Looks like he is. Now, perhaps he's counting chests. Maybe I don't know offhand how many item chests there are in Desert Palace.
I also do not know them off the top of my head.
Yeah, that would be the big question. Just because he did leave very quickly after getting the big key, so I thought that was curious.
Yeah. So it makes sense. So if the boss has the second item, then yeah, that is the correct call.
Okay, so the question is what the boss is going to have, because it looks like the boss should have an item in this case. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and get more swag ducks out for Fred here.
Swag duck, baby, swag duck.
There you see where you need the fire source to get to the boss here. And what are the Landmolas going to have?
Well, if they're thirsty, probably a non-fat half mocha double latte with a whip.
Well, unfortunately, the only thing Rick serves here is a fire rod to the face, it seems.
I'm not sure how roasted Landmola tastes, but I do know that in some versions of Hyrule, they do sell grade A Landmola juice.
Well, if it's anything like snake meat, I imagine it's actually quite tasty. I've actually tried that myself.
And Landmola has the bottle.
Interesting. Bottle with a blue potion.
Because now we have the bottle, we can get the sick kid.
Indeed. Oh, yeah, that's actually our first bottle, isn't it? That's very odd to not have a bottle 47 minutes into the run.
Yeah, but at this point, sick kid could potentially have it, or the ether tablet could potentially have it. Yeah, the good thing is we can ocarina right over to Kakariko Village, and Rick is making a beeline for the sick kid's house.
And that is exactly what he's doing. Let's see if the sick kid has a progression item.
There it is!
There it is, the Moon Pearl!
The Moon Pearl. So now, this is interesting. You needed to go ocarina to desert to get the bottle to get the sick kid. This is crazy.
And you also needed to pick up the mitts or the gloves from Desert Palace, as well as the lantern or the fire rod, in order to get to the boss.
Yeah, this seed has been all kinds of crazy, and I guarantee you they are both cursing my name right now.
Yeah, this is a crazy progression seed. This is a real Metroid seed right here.
Yeah, absolutely. Rick opting to go back up to Death Mountain here. I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning behind that is. Are we trying to go for the ether tablets to get it out of the way?
It looks like that is what he's doing since he has the book now. Yeah, that's definitely what he's doing. So interesting. What is going to be an ether? This is a bit of an out-of-the-way spot, so I don't know if Fred is going to check this right away. Especially since they don't yet have the hook shot and just the Pizza Heart.
Yeah, not worth it at all there for Rick, but now if I'm Rick, I whistle right back to Kakariko, and I do Thieves Town.
Yep, and I think he may be thinking exactly what you just said. Yeah,
well,
that definitely seems to be what he's thinking. Looks like he's going for the warp into the Dark World.
Yeah. And Fred is going to go ahead and pick up the fire rod here, as Rick is, as you said, going into the Village of Outcasts. And Thieves Town is definitely the one I... Oh yeah, Swamp is Crystal 5, so we know that Swamp Palace is the other one on the Big Bomb. But yeah, Thieves Town is actually the easiest of the Dark World dungeons to do, per se. But interesting, Rick opting to do Skull Woods, it looks like.
Yes, Skull Woods is not too long to complete either, and they do have the items, I believe, necessary to do this. You've got the Fire Rod for Skull Woods, you've got the Hammer for Thieves Town to make sure you get everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And being here, when Rick is done with Skull Woods, he's probably going to check the Master Sword pedestal, just because, well, if you ask him, he's going to check it because I'm here calling the seed, and he knows that he's going to get trolled otherwise.
I would definitely want to know what's there just to be safe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Considering that how 50 minutes in or 45 minutes in until we found the Moon Pearl, yeah, he's absolutely like, God, what the heck did I get myself into?
Indeed. Oh, there's the big key, so he's probably going to go back and check the big chest. Yep, he's getting his bombs out. He's going to have to do a bomb jump over to this chest.
Yeah, this has always been one of the more fascinating mechanics for me about this game, is the ability to bomb jump, and you just use your weapons to projectile you past certain things.
Indeed. I really like that trick. That's one of the really cool tricks in speed this game. And I'm really curious where the other 3 bottles are, since that was the first one we saw in Desert Palace here. So I'm wondering if we'll find any other bottles throughout the rest of the run. Or maybe they're all in Ganon's tower, who knows?
That could be a thing. Bottles, the only time, a bottle was a required item here in this seed as Fred picks up his Desert Palace crystal. But a lot of the times, bottles aren't required to. They tend to be in places that, well, I'd like to have it, but... And yeah, Rick looking like he is going to go ahead and check the Master Sword pedestal while we are here. So this could be very interesting, all things considering. Here we go. We've got the book and... Blue goo in a bottle, not required, unfortunately. I really wanted it to be, but there's our second bottle location.
Yep, it's not required, but yeah, one of those bottles that was required to progress. So yeah, really interesting seed that you only need one of the 4 bottles. So chances are you'd think that one of those bottles would be in a much more accessible location, but maybe not in this seed.
Hey, it is the nature of the randomizer. Things can be in crazy places. And Fred did pick up the Moon Pearl, so he does have access to that now. Although I will say, I am a little disappointed that we don't have a pedestal required seed. We still could have the potential of needing, Meyer for the Sahaswala item.
Yeah, and for all we know, that could be Ice Rod, so we may still get a pretty good troll yet. We'll have to see. I would love to see that personally if Shahabadu has the Ice Rod and you need to go to Meyer. It looks like they're both going to do Skull Woods before Thieves Town, so looks like we won't get to see what's in Thieves Town just yet, unfortunately.
No, but what we will get is more Little Bunny Foo-Foo. And to be fair, the chat does bring up a pretty good point. We're not having pedestal required, but we did have a 45-minute Moon Pearl fetch quest, so we can't really be too disappointed.
No, absolutely not. That was pretty trolly. So if you were hoping for a trolly seed, I'd say we got our money's worth.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And now we are going to see Mothula here, which is going to continue the theme of Link to the Past bosses with crazy eyeballs. As you can see on Mothula's wings, there are, giant eyeball patterns. Couple that with Moldorm's big old googly eyes, blind being an absolute direct reference, cold stare and Argus and Vitreous, and you've got yourself a variable cornucopia of squishy little corneal delights.
Indeed, and Mothula dropping the burrito there. Gotta be one of the most well-designed bosses in history.
Yeah, the funny thing about Mothula here, though, is the spikes do the same damage as the Golden Sword does. Mothula is coded to not take damage from the spikes, so in the original game, you cannot actually damage Mothula with the Gold Sword.
Yeah, since they do the same damage class, that's right. Probably just a programming oversight on that, but super annoying when you play this game casually and you're just whacking the crap out of him and wondering why he won't die since you happen to be hitting him into the spikes. Plus, you've got the spikes going back and forth in the conveyor belt floor. That's just an absolutely brutal boss. Ooh, Fred taking a death there in Skull Woods. That's going to set him back a little bit.
Yeah, that's been the real big advantage that Rick has had so far, is Fred has spun around in a circle at least, 3 or 4 times now, and Rick has not. So that just goes to show you that not only is routing a big deal, but deaths can also be a huge time sink.
Yep, indeed. Rick actually hasn't died at all yet, so good on him.
Yep, the grudge match is in fact going the way of Rick here.
Yeah, so far, although it's far from over, that's for sure. So it looks like Rick is going to go check the chest that he missed. Oh, good dodging that Wall Master there. I was going to say, the Wall Master will drop too fast if you're dragging that statue. You will not be able to get out of the way in time. You will get grabbed.
So speaking of that, here's a question. You know, we're calling them Wall Masters as Fred gets grabbed, but they're not coming from the wall. They're dropping from the ceiling. Shouldn't these be Ceiling Masters?
They might actually be called Ceiling Masters, now that you mention it. They came out of the wall in the original Legend of Zelda, but I feel like they may actually be Ceiling Masters in later games.
Yeah, because they're coming out of the ceiling, so wouldn't they be Ceiling Masters?
Yeah, that may actually be canonical.
Anyway, speaking of canonical, we're going to be canonically going next to Thieves Town, I would assume, because that just makes sense in the progression of where we are.
Yep, shoutouts to doing things in the intended developer order.
What's intended order?
Well, with this game, who knows? You do things in all sorts of different games. Oh, now, it looks like we're not going to Thieves Town just yet.
No.
Nope, we're going to check the ledge on down there. 50 rupees up there.
And Rick's probably going to bonk, make his way back in Mirror and bonk Lumberjack Cave? No?
No, looks like he's not.
Oh, he's checking Mirror Cave.
Ah, okay. I was wondering where he was going. Yeah, so nothing good on the bumper cave there, so I guess that means the cape's not going to be required.
Yes, but the problem is, guys, you say you're going to check the wiki. It's a wiki. Wiki are fan-based things, so you can't always trust them. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying is that is not a 100% source material verification. So if I was grading this as an essay for school, that would not be a probable citable source.
Yeah, indeed. I guess you could check the Hyrule Historia and see if it's in there. All that I don't know.
I do have that book sitting next to me if we really need to break it out.
We might need to by the end of this race. Who knows? Okay, looks like Rick is going to go into Thieves Town. He just wanted to make sure he checked that overworld spot first. That's a good call. Generally speaking, if you have an available overworld spot and that's not too far away, you want to check the overworld spots before you start diving into dungeons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're going to check the chest game here, which gives us, well, money.
Well, I guess that means you can perpetually play it, but there's not much else good out of that. It looks like he's probably going to do the rest of Village of Outcasts here before heading into Thieves Town. And we go into the Sea House. Oh, and there's the Cane of Samaria!
Ooh, nice. That's one less item that we'll have to be required to look for. So at this point, we have got 2 required items left. Well, 3 technically, because we have Bombos.
We need Bombos and the Ice Rod for sure.
Yep. Hook shot as well, correct?
Hook shot as well, yeah. We're still missing the hook shot. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. We usually have it by this.
We usually have lots of things by this point.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting seed so far. Now, is Rick going to go check the hammer pegs? Nope, maybe not. Or is he maybe thinking he's going to do the blacksmith?
Is Rick going to take us on a Froggy World tour?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be a full world tour, but it looks like he's definitely going to do the blacksmith. Fred is now heading into Thieves Town, so interesting. So a couple different decisions here. So depending on what Fred finds in Thieves Town, he might be at a slight advantage if he gets something earlier than Rick does, although it probably won't last long.
No, but Rick is doing the Froggy Hammer Dash, so we do have that going for us at least.
Yeah, always nice to see that hammer dash move. That's such a cool trick there.
I love like Bug Net Dash, Rod Dash. All of the item dashes are pretty fun. Ooh, Magic Cape.
Magic Cape. So there we go. We definitely don't need that for Agahnim, and since we know the bumper cave just has rupees, but that's still nice to have. They might check the big spike cave up on Death Mountain a little later. Maybe that has something.
But speaking of something, we have the hook shot. So it turns out Thieves Town is legitimately off the chain as Fred gets an item he's going to need.
Indeed, that's going to open up a bunch of stuff now. That's going to open up Eastern Death Mountain. He can get to Hookshot Cave. That's a whole bunch of chests that he's going to be able to get.
Also, Rick did the cave, got the cape, started taking a walk. Oh wait, I've got the frog. We're not doing round 2 of the Froggy World Tour.
It looks like he just gets an arrow upgrade for his trouble there. So apparently the Smiths are making wooden arrows instead of metal.
Well, I mean, the point could still be, made of metal. I mean, I'm not a Fletcher, so I wouldn't know, but...
Oh, now we're checking the Bat Cave, so...
Which we know is just a rupee.
Yep, so he's going to be a little disappointed in that. Fred checked that much earlier.
But speaking of, if we have any of the developers who are in here, when you have the dwarves doing the arrows and they turn into the dwarven arrowsmiths, can we make the quote above them lyrics to an Aerosmith song, please?
I like that idea. And getting another piece of heart in Thieves Town for Fred here. So they got a pretty good amount of hearts this seed here. I think they're going to be okay for that, plus the red mail.
Yeah, but of course we still have the no silver arrows, so I know that both of them have practiced silverless. I know I've seen Fred do it. I don't know if Rick can do it or not, but having red mail and more hearts doing silverless is definitely a good thing. And no, not the Sanctuary Heart, Folsom. The Sanctuary Heart was actually in Zelda's prison cell.
Yeah, we got that really early on. Which is probably not something you might want to see at the very beginning of the game, because finding the Sanctuary Heart in a Dark World dungeon much later on in the seed can be kind of a lifesaver since it gives you that free refill.
Yeah, it can be. My favorite one, though, is I've seen a run where it was half a heart on Ganon's tower, went back to grab a key, opened the one chest that was quickly accessible, was the 4th pizza heart to get a full heart refill during the gauntlet.
Yep, and Rick now gets his hook shot as well. So it'll be really interesting to see where the two of them decide to go after Thieves Town, because I suspect they might go to different places since they have a number of places open to them now.
If it was me right now after Thieves Town, having a hook shot, having everything I need, and knowing the fact that it is, 7 items, I go to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that does make sense. Swamp Palace has 6 chests, I believe?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of items there in Swamp Palace, so that's definitely the one that I would be looking to go. Although, at this point, the only dungeon that isn't accessible right now is, of course, Turtle Rock.
Yeah, like you said, Swamp Palace seems to have the most chests in a single place there, and it is a Crystal Dungeon, and it's also Crystal 5, so that would also get you the Big Fairy.
It would. That's the other reason that Swamp Palace is appealing here.
Yeah, so I like that call quite a bit. Yeah, I wonder if we'll see them make the same decision. Looks like Fred is in the blind fight here. Oh, taking a few hits there, but he does get blind down. That red mail really helping out with that fight. Blind can get out of hand really quickly when he's got 2 of those heads flying around, shooting bullets every which way.
Yeah, absolutely. That's never a fun thing. Although Dark Death Mountain is definitely also an option. The hookshot now opening up a bunch of options there as well.
Yeah, indeed. They've got a number of overworld spots they can check. I would guess that they would probably check those overworld spots, particularly Death Mountain and the Hookshot Cave, since there's a bunch of stuff up there before maybe they go into another dungeon. But yeah, after that, I think your call of going into Swamp Palace is definitely the correct play.
I mean, it goes down to routing. I mean, I don't know a lot about the intricacies about this game. What I know is I would play percentages, and Swamp Palace to me screams the most percentages because even if you go through and you don't find anything in Swamp Palace, you're still getting a crystal, which you need to do eventually. So I would just assume do 2 birds with 1 stone. I've got everything to do Swamp Palace. It's going to get me a crystal. I would go there. After that, I would do Palace of Darkness. Again, same reason, crystal. And then finally, if at that point I don't have everything I need, I would check out all my overworld spots before delving into Ice Palace and Misery Mire.
Indeed, yeah. I think I like that that route there. That's probably what we're going to see them do, something along those lines. They may opt to check the Death Mountain caves and the Hookshot cave somewhere in. It looks like Fred's actually going to do the digging games. Let's see if there's anything here. How many digs do you think he's going to take? Just kidding, it's always 15.
It depends. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
Well, if it's a Tootsie Pop randomizer, it's always 15.
Yep. Nope,
and a Pizza Hut for his trouble. Alright, so Rick's now doing the blind fight. Now, he's got a fair amount of health, so I think he'll probably be okay with this.
He also has the cape if things get really hairy.
That's true. They also do have the... he also has the cape. Fred actually hasn't picked that up yet, so Fred's going to do the Froggy tour now.
Yep, so Froggy's going to court with Ling. And I mean, I could get into the technical explanation on the actual number of licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. I mean, if you really want to know, the number is actually variable based on the strength of the lick, the acidity in your saliva, and the amount of saliva you actually produce. So it's a variable number based on person to person. So you're never actually going to know how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop until you try it yourself.
Indeed, and Fred's picked up the magic cape now from the Peg Cave, and he's going to go return the blacksmith and get his arrow upgrade. So it might be a little bit disappointing from that. It looks like Rick is now going to do the digging game, so he's going to get another Pizza Heart. So we're kind of seeing them do sort of the same things, just not quite in the same order, but sticking roughly to the same route with each other. So I think they're fairly even right now.
Yeah, because Rick decided to do Kakariko Village and everything first. Fred decided to do it all second. So we're effectively even. It's going to truly depend on where we're going to go. And Fred opting to pick up the purple chest.
Yeah, now Rick did not do this, at least. So the purple chest might have something good in it.
No,
Where's
that's
Rick
right.
going
Actually,
here?
check. Looks like he's going to go do in the cave that you normally do with the chest tour. But
Yep.
Chat makes up a very good point. We haven't seen Hype Cave.
That's true. We haven't seen Dark World Hype Cave, have we?
No, we have not. We also haven't seen the Kid in the Grove, as far as I know. Which we have a little high five here as Fred bringing the stragglers. Rick is coming along with it nicely. And now we're going to go ahead and visit the Grove Kid.
Yep, get your high fives out, everybody.
Ooh, he brought his sandwich lunchbox with him today as Grove Kid's giving Rick the butter he needs to toast the pig later.
Indeed. Grove Kid is packing a punch today with that sword upgrade.
If he was packing a punch, wouldn't he have the red juice, though?
I guess he would. Yeah, it looks like Fred is doing the same thing, so he's got his butter sword now. And now, interestingly, they're going to the same places here again, but Fred's taking the purple chest along with him, and Rick opted not to get it. So I wonder if he just forgot about it.
That's entirely a possibility here. We are going to see Bombos Medallion now. One of my favorite things to see here, as much as Bird Toss is good, I love seeing the Vulture just catch on fire.
Yeah. And it looks like just 20 rupees, so nothing good out of that. Let's see if there's anything from the purple chest.
If there's something good in there, that could be a huge advantage for Fred. And, ooh, nothing required but Cane of Burna, never bad to get.
Yep. That's not a bad find there. So it'll get you through the Spike Cave on Death Mountain. Of course, they have the cape already, so they might not need that, but they don't have half magic or anything yet, so that might come in handy.
Yeah, no, having that magic cave already makes the Spike Cave very capable.
Boo! Alright, let's see what's in the cave here. Tiny shield. Nothing good. red rupee, bombs, a Pizza Hut, and 50 rupees. So nothing. Not very hype at all.
Nope, I think the chat was more hype for my bad pun than that cave was.
I think they might be rioting from your bad pun.
They're only rioting now? I've been making bad puns the entire time, and we're an hour and 10 in, and now they're rioting?
Yeah, so we have a not-so-hype cave here. It looks like Fred's gonna go now check out the not-so-hype cave as well. So, it looks like Rick is probably going... Yep, he is definitely gonna go into Swamp Palace, it looks like. He's probably thinking the same thing you were.
Absolutely, and the other thing is to mention, of course, we do know that the Ether Medallion is in the Lumberjack Cave, so we know where one of the medallions are, just not the one we need.
Yeah, indeed. We're still looking for Bombos and the Ice Rod. I believe those are the only items that we require at this point.
I believe you are correct.
Yep, because we still need to do Palace of Darkness, but we have the Lantern and the Hammer, so we're good to go there, as well as the Bow.
Yeah, the big thing here, though, is we have got 4 crystals and 1 pendant on each side. Everyone has the exact same items. The sync here is pretty realistic. Rick having about a 30-second to a minute lead, depending on movement and combat. But this is very interesting because the routing has been pretty much exactly the same so far. So it's going to be very interesting once we get out of Swamp Palace to see if they opt to do Big Bomb, and that would have been the Master Sword there with that upgrade.
Yep. Interesting to note, if this was the progressive logic, they would have found all 3 sword upgrades, so they'd have Butter Sword now. But like you said, they have been following most of the same route from each other, and that's actually not really surprising considering kind of how linear this seed has been, where you've needed to do a certain progression of items.
Yeah, absolutely. This seed has been extremely linear, especially with, the whole fetch quest of Ocarina to Book to Bottle to Moon Pearl.
When you see a linear seed like this, it's interesting because the racers will often end up taking a similar or the same route. And if that happens, then it can come down to just who has the better execution in boss fights and dungeon traversal and what have you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in this case, it's definitely, right now anyway, coming down to execution, where both runners have basically been almost forced to take the same path.
Indeed, yeah. We'll have to see what they find in Swamp Palace here and where they go when they get out of it. This will give them the other crystal that they need for the big fairy, so I wonder if either of them will remember to check that.
I think you have to, based on the knowledge that you had all of these options, and Swamp Palace is the one you chose. Having it be, 6 items plus the one that's going to unlock the Fat Fairy definitely has to be in both of their minds.
Indeed, yeah, I would think so, but they can also just go immediately to Palace of Darkness as well, so they might be thinking that with the amount of chests they have left to check, they haven't even been up to, Eastern Death Mountain and the Hookshot Cave yet, they might be thinking that that's probably the more likely place to find the last couple items that they need. So I'm curious if they might forget about Fat Fairy.
I'm not sure. The big one thing that the chat did just point out that I did forget here is Rick is the only one, there are 2 runners here, that has the knowledge of Bombos being the medallion that blocks Turtle Rock. Fred did not check it, so he does not know which medallion he's looking for.
That is true. That is a good point. So we'll have to see if that comes into play as well. I'm wondering then if Fred needs to check what that is anyway. He might go up to Death Mountain and do, Eastern Death Mountain and the Hookshot Cave and all those places.
Right, but he's definitely going to check everything else he needs to check down here before that. So he's going to do Swamp as we see now. He's going to do Desert Palace, or Desert Palace, Palace of Darkness, the other one with the P's and the D's. I get my letters confused sometimes.
Yeah, they're doing basically the exact same thing, right? So it looks like Rick has a little bit of a lead right now. They're basically going to be almost in sync with each other at this point.
Yeah, this is absolutely crazy. And so far, Swamp Palace has turned up absolutely nothing for either of our runners to use. nothing that is worth coming in here. So right now, at this point, whoa, never mind. That's worth coming in here. Half magic.
Not required, but definitely nice to have. Very nice to have indeed. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we did not see a big key, did we?
We did not, but Swamp Palace is one of the 2 dungeons where you do not need the big key to defeat the dungeon itself, because in this case, Argus could potentially drop the big key.
That's right, and I believe if we've checked all the other chests in here, then that would have to be the case. Argus must have the big key if there's no more chests here. I can't remember if there's any chests up here going towards the boss.
There are still. There's the one where you push the block in the cave, and the one where you have to go into the waterfall. There's still some chests left,
right.
but at this point, no matter where we find the big key, there is going to be backtracking involved, unless, of course, we don't find the compass.
Indeed. So I have to wonder, if they find the big key at this point, will they go back and check that chest, or will they just go and kill the boss and then do it?
You absolutely, at this point, because it's pretty easy to reach that big chest overall, you go ahead and you finish the boss, then you go back in afterwards. You don't backtrack.
Fair enough. It's pretty much no matter how far in here, they might find that big key. And there it is. And there's the compass. So that means that Argus then still should have an item.
Yes.
And Rick's doing a little forward reverse back down the stairs there. He might have gotten his inputs mixed up a bit there. And it looks like, yeah, Rick is going to go back and check the big chest now, so he's going to do that before he goes to the boss. And it's just an arrow upgrade, so nothing worth there.
Yeah. So that's going to, put Fred in the lead a little bit now, just because Rick decided to go back right now. But again, this is going to be neck and neck. Fred more than likely is going to go back and check that after he is done with Argus. So this is really one of those seats where you really can't say someone is ahead or somebody else is ahead. It's basically neck and neck and even at this point. If their routes diverge, the first person to find the Bombos and the Ice Rod is going to be in the lead. But until then, it's effectively neck and neck.
Yeah, indeed. So Fred's now gotten into the Argus fight here, and he's going to make quick work of that with Red Mail and the Butter Sword. He shouldn't have any trouble here at all. And it'd be interesting to see what Argus drops.
Well, as long as it's not Fred's body here, we're okay.
Yeah, and it looks like he's charging up for the second phase of the fight now. Yep, he's going to try to keep him in the corner here. And that was pretty good there. Keep him from getting away. And just a red rupee for his trouble.
So, Swamp Palace had one good thing, which was the half magic, which is definitely going to make Silverless Ganon a lot easier, because, hey, we still have not seen the silver arrows. So
no, we have not. I wonder if those aren't up somewhere on Death Mountain where we haven't really checked anything at all. Kind of odd to see that neither runner has gotten to check all those caves on Death Mountain this far in.
I'm going to say that Ganon's going to be, did you get the silver arrows in Misery Miner? But what do I know?
Oh, wouldn't that be a troll? Or Ice Palace, for that matter.
True, and Fred opting to go up to Death Mountain, so we are not going to see a big bomb from Fred. Oh, no, he missed Swag Duck!
Oh, no, he missed the duck! He's got to play it again! There we go, he got it the second. So now, yeah, like you said, since Rick already knows what the medallion required for Turtle Rock is, looks like he is going to go do the big fairy here. Yeah, and yes. It looks like Fred has changed his mind here. He's going to go do Palace of Darkness instead.
So yeah, this, depending on what's where, this could be a huge deal. If Rick gets something required out of this, either Bombos or Ice Rod, it's going to be a huge boon for him. Same thing goes for Fred getting this out of Palace of Darkness. This is that route variation we were talking about earlier, where, this time you just have to get lucky, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually Rick might be in a position to get more of a lead here since, if Fred finds something good in Palace of Darkness, Rick's going to go in there eventually since it's a crystal dungeon. But Rick, if he gets something good out of this cave here, Fred might not remember to check this.
Right, but the other thing is if you get the 2 progression items you need out of Palace of Darkness, Fred's going to go right to Turtle Rock and not worry about it. Rick's going to be behind. So it's all variable about what is where, and we get 50 rupees and ooh!
Oh, there's the silver arrows. Oh, now that is a really interesting spot for them, because if Fred doesn't remember to check there, then he might be in trouble for the Ganon fight, depending on how good he is with doing silverless.
Ooh, that's actually a huge advantage right now, because not only does these silver arrows make it so that Ganon's going to be a little bit easier, but you know, the Helmosaur King is, you know, one-shotted after you crack his helmet by silver arrows. If we have to kill Vitreous, perhaps, because you know, Ice Rod's very deep in mire, silver arrows definitely do help.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely swings the advantage in Rick's favor here. And did he just get glitched up onto that ledge there?
I'm not sure.
It looked like he got bonked by an enemy and ended up on top of the ledge.
Allegedly.
Boo! Oh, it looks like he's checking catfish. We're gonna find out what the catfish has.
Ooh, this is also an interesting thing, because I've seen catfish have required items for it. Catfish having required items is always fun. Catfish has money.
Just some money. And let that be a lesson to you kids. If you disturb someone who's sleeping by tossing rocks at them, they'll give you money to go away.
See, I was going to make a joke about noodling, but yours is better. For those who don't know, noodling is the process of fishing for catfish in swamps with your bare hands. It's illegal.
We do not condone illegal catfish fishing.
No, we do condone, however, using the black bass emote. Rick getting some super speed up here on Death Mountain, and this is an interesting variation here. Fred doing Palace of Darkness, whereas Rick is going to go ahead and do Eastern Death Mountain. So again, we see the route variations happening. This is very interesting here. Ooh, Rick doing Burna Cave.
Yep. Now, I have to imagine that Fred is going to come up here and check these, but it does depend on what he finds in Palace of Darkness. And like you said, he may be thinking that if he finds the required items that he needs in Palace of Darkness, then he doesn't have to check all these caves, as unlikely as that may be.
True, but here's the thing, of course. Every time we've gone to check something here, ooh, that's an unfortunate bonk for Rick. We have had a red rupee of refusal. Or in this case, a rage-inducing red rupee.
Oh, Rick's in trouble. He's going to have to save and quit. Oh, no, he does have a potion. He could use that. He's thinking about whether to use it. Nope, he's going to save and quit. Oh, Fred unfortunately getting knocked off the crumbling platform. He's going to have to reset that room now. Zoru, no, he cannot mirror back to the beginning of that cave. That only works in dungeons. The mirror does nothing inside a cave like that on the overworld.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now, Rick back up on Death Mountain again. He's like, I'm already up here once. I'm going to go back up here a second time. So it looks like he is going to be going for Hookshot Cave as Fred is continuing his trek through Palace of Darkness and gets rewarded with the, oh yeah, red Kool-Aid.
Oh, there's one of those bottles again. So the bottles being, both other bottles we've seen so far being in places where you needed the Moon Pearl to access. So again, really interesting with that one required bottle in Desert Palace.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Again, we talked about it in the open. Seeing randomizers allows you to see things you never thought you would really see. And it's just, a truly fascinating experience when you get to have all that fun. As Fred does pick up the boss key here in Palace of Darkness, as Rick is, picking up the giant rock, and now we're going to go to the even gianter rock that is Turtle Rock.
Yeah, I have to assume that he's going to check these caves on Eastern Death Mountain here and check Hookshot Cave and everything.
But where he's going to go first is he's going to go to the floating island because that's where the Bombos medallion is.
Ah, there we go. We found Bombos. And now we're just looking for Ice Rod.
Yep, that's the only thing left on Rick. So going up here to Death Mountain, turns out to be fruitful for Rick, especially if Ice Rod is here. Now, at this point, if Ice Rod doesn't turn out to be in any of these locations, we're going to have to start diving into pendant dungeons.
Yeah, indeed. We'll have to see if either of them find Ice Rod in the places that they're going to. And there's Quake.
Quake does, not a whole lot of anything except, gives us a medallion.
Yep, unless we happen to need to go into Mire. We didn't see what Mire requires yet, did we?
No, but we know where all three of the medallions are at this point, so it doesn't matter what Mire requires, we know where it is.
Yep, indeed. I would still like to see Ice Rod being, Shahazralah's item from the green pendant or something. That would be pretty good.
Yeah, and the Ice Rod playing hard to get here is actually very, very advantageous for Rick. Fred is going to have the advantage on crystals here going into Palace of Darkness, but the longer the Ice Rod plays hard to get with both of our runners, the bigger of an advantage that gives Rick because he is still doing all of this exploring. So again, huge boon for Rick going up to Death Mountain, finding the medallion he needs to be able to get into Turtle Rock.
Indeed, I have to assume that Rick is probably going to be heading over to Palace of Darkness pretty soon. Since, there are a few chests, quite a few chests to get in there, and you have to do it since it's a crystal dungeon anyway. It looks like he's going there right now, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this is one of those very interesting options because all the overworld exploration that Rick has done does give him a clear advantage, but at the same time, depending on where Fred chooses to go first, it could, end up being that little bit of time sink that costs Rick. I do want to point out Rick making sure he has plenty of rupees here because I know there's been... Oh,
we got hit and lost Kiki.
We're not monkeying around here with that lever, but as I was saying, is Rick has been here before where he hasn't had enough money and Kiki's like, bye, Felicia.
Oh, yes, I saw that clip. He got all the way over here and didn't have enough rupees. So he's going to be heading into Palace of Darkness now. So we know the Ice Rod's not in here, so he'll be disappointed about that. But he will get the crystal out of it, and like you said earlier, he has the silver arrow, so he's going to make really quick work of Helmasaur.
Also, I'd like to point out we're seeing more bomb packs being dropped as the Helmasaur King also contain bombs. Now, here's an interesting question. Why do you need to carry bombs on you when you can spit fireballs? So they do the same thing?
Well, the fireballs can light the bombs so that they'll explode, but I don't think they cause explosions.
Interesting.
Now, let's see. The big question now is, where is Fred going to go? Ooh, he's going back to Desert. Is he going to Mire?
We haven't seen we haven't got the two chests in the opening right next to Mire.
Ah, yes. He's probably going to check those first. And we still don't get to see what medallion is required for Mire.
Yeah, this is a good call because it's pretty quick to get to. Two chests, and this could, be the difference maker here. Well, guess what? More red rupees.
And another
red rupees.
Well, that's going to be disappointing. So where is that Ice Rod hiding? And Rick's going to find his bottle here. Get that delicious sweet Kool-Aid. Fred's off again. Where is he going to check this time?
He's checking the pedestal.
He hasn't checked the pedestal yet. He doesn't know what's there.
Yeah, so it looks like he's checking the pedestal. Or not. Never mind.
He's going down. I thought he did everything in Rico. In Village of Outcasts. Oh, no, he's going back up. Okay, maybe he is going to... Nope, I don't know where he's going. Oh, he hasn't checked Bumper Cave yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. He's doing that.
Okay, that's what he's doing then. Yep, sees the 50 rupees there. That's right, Rick was the one that checked Bumper Cave earlier.
He's also probably going to pick up the Ether Medallion here, because Fred still hasn't checked on the Turtle Rock. So he's going to go ahead and pick up the medallion. He knows the one good thing, of course, is all of the other two medallions are pretty close together.
Indeed, yeah. This is a good call from him, since he doesn't know which medallion is required for Turtle Rock, like you said. And he's right here anyway, since he was checking Bumper Cave. So I like that decision, just to pick that up, just in case. Even though we know that he doesn't actually need it. Or at least we think he doesn't. It might actually be required for Meyer if the ice rod's in there.
True. I mean, but at this point, if you have the option of, you've explored every other option, do you gamble on Ice Rod in Turtle Rock before you go to Meyer and Ice Palace? I think so.
There are more chests available in Turtle Rock, I believe. So that may be statistically the right play. But Meyer also gives you the green pendant, so that's one extra thing to check. Although Turtle Rock is probably still the better option, I think. Although it's a bit of a tough call.
I would do Turtle Rock just based on the fact that, if you gamble correctly and Ice Rod's in it, you're already in the Crystal Dungeon.
True, yeah. But that's quite a gamble, though, because if you're wrong, then you've just wasted a whole bunch of time going partway through that dungeon. You have to come back. So not a good position to be in. I don't envy our runners having to make that call, because really hard to tell. It's kind of a toss-up at this point.
Fred going ahead and getting super speed there, opting to use the hook shot to acquire it, and that's going to put him on the path to not Viridian City, but the eastern half of Death Mountain.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go over and check all this stuff here. So he should find the Bombos Medallion, and he should find that it's required to get into Turtle Rock. And we'll have to see what he does here, but he may actually decide to go into Turtle Rock and look for the Ice Rod.
And I want at this point, considering we're an hour and a half into the sea, this is the point where you would imagine your opponents right on the way to getting to Ganon's Tower and to Agahnim. I would, of course, I'm got a riverboat gambler mentality, but I would consider gambling in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, at this point in the run, it's a bit risky, but that may be the correct play at this point. When you're in a tournament race like this and you're racing against somebody, you got to assume that they must be getting really close to go mode, so you might want to take that chance. Oh, Rick almost getting knocked off of the crumbling path there, but manages to stay on. Does not take a dive like Fred did. Fred's getting a few extra bonks in here in Death Mountain. And he should go up and check the island. Oh, he didn't. I don't think he looked at the island. There, he checked Turtle Rock. He sees Bombos.
Now he's checking the island.
Okay. Good, he should see that then. Excellent. He's like, okay, I've got to find Bombos. Well, let's see what's here. Oh, hey, it's just what I need.
Hey, sometimes, you get what you need.
Yep. As long as you try sometime.
That was kind of cool over on Rick's side. Swings into the bumper beetle, backs off into the bumper, gets back into the bumper beetle, and as it's dying. So it was a pretty cool little sequence of events there for Rick.
Yeah, Rick's doing some funny things over there. A couple of questionable things. Using some major glitches, quote-unquote, with getting glitched into that cliff earlier. So it looks like Fred's going to finish up the hookshot cave here. And then the big question is he going to go into Turtle Rock? So since he came up here and checked Death Mountain relatively quickly, he managed to find the Bombos Medallion without too much trouble. I think Rick did a lot more exploration before he found that.
But at this point, if I'm Fred, you're up here, it's the last place. Gamble on Turtle Rock.
And it looks like that's where he's going. So this might be the deciding factor right here, because Rick still has to finish off Palace of Darkness. So if Fred is correct and the Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock, he's got a big advantage here.
Yeah, but it's also going to come down to, what Rick decides to do next. If he decides to gamble on Turtle Rock, if he decides to check out Ice Palace, Misery Mire, there's all kinds of options here. And again, it goes back to that discussion we were having at the very open. What risks are you willing to take in your routing? What gambles are you willing to take? And, are they ultimately going to pay off? As we're going to get the explosive entrance into Turtle Rock here.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. If the Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock, then I think that will give Fred a big advantage, and he will probably be able to take this. But if it's not, then the question is, where is it, and will Rick find it first?
Yeah, at this point, the biggest thing that can happen for Rick is that Ice Rod to not be in Turtle Rock, and to Rick not be willing to gamble on it.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see we're really close here. We've got one crystal left to go, but we're still looking for that one key item, and we're not quite in go mode yet. Usually at this point in the run, we're in go mode, and the amount of distance between the runners is such that you can kind of tell that one person has a pretty decisive advantage. But right now, I don't think either player really has any kind of decisive advantage, so this is pretty exciting.
Fred falling off a couple times as Rick using the silver arrows to make quick work of the Helmosaur King, and that is going to make us tied at 6 pendants apiece, 6 crystals apiece. And again, this race is going to come down to where Rick decides he wants to go next, and if, more importantly, Ice Rod is here in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, hopefully we'll find that out pretty soon. And chat also pointing out, like we mentioned before, the other factor is that Fred does not have the silver arrows, so it might also come down to how proficient he is at doing silverless.
I know Fred has practiced silverless. I know he can do silverless just fine. And now he's rewarded with a couple of keys here after the fire rod path cave thingy.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the commonly used community name for that is.
We're just going to call it Fire Rod Cave thingy.
And now Rick is checking the cave next to Meyer here.
Meyer Shed is a great call because it's quick, it's easy to access. He is going to be very disappointed, though, that we're only having 40 rupees.
Yeah, definitely, but still a good call to check. Fred finding all the keys here.
Well, that's good, considering he's going to need all of them to check every chest here in Turtle Rock. And hey, can you please take Bow Wow for a walk?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm starting to wonder if Fred's play is correct here, since he's finding all of these keys. That seems to be kind of pushing him deeper into Turtle Rock.
And there's
the
also
big key.
The big key, yeah.
This is really interesting. He'll be able to almost clear this dungeon with finding all of the keys and everything. So, yeah, I'm wondering if this is kind of the game's way of telling him that he needs to look in here.
Yeah, there it's the game's way of saying, hey, we're going to make everything feel all right, and then at the last possible moment, we're going to yank it right out from under you. Now, there's already been a scenario in this tournament where the last possible chest in T-Rock that could have the Ice Rod had the Ice Rod. And Rick now is going back to do purple chest, which he did not do earlier.
Yeah, that's right. We saw him skip over this earlier, but he also checked a bunch of things kind of on the way when Fred was doing the purple chest, so it might have been a bit of a routing error on Rick's part there. Well, there's another key. Although I guess he just flutes right over here, so I guess maybe it's not that big a deal to just bring the purple chest back now. So he's going to get the Cane of Brian.
It's one of those things at this point where he's happy to have it, but at the same time, very upset that it's the wrong blue rod.
Indeed, not the blue rod he's looking for, it's the blue cane.
And it looks like Rick is also opting to take a gamble on making some turtle soup here.
Looks like he's going into Turtle Rock as well now, so this is going to be really interesting. Now it just comes down to whether or not the Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock, because even if it's not, well, if both players are going here, so they're on the same path again.
Yeah, but Rick choosing to go to Turtle Rock here puts the advantage squarely in Fred's court, because say the Ice Rod isn't here in Turtle Rock, Fred is going to have the option first of where he's going to want to go. And if he goes ahead and picks the right choice, he is in the driver's seat.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and if it is in Turtle Rock, then Fred's just going to find it first. Let's see what's in the cave here. Nope, just a Pizza Heart. So this is getting tense now. It might actually not be here.
No, and we still have the 4 chests in the laser hallway.
Yeah, so we still got a few places left to check here, but we're getting down to the wire a bit here. So at this point, yeah, I think the advantage is squarely in Fred's court here. So I think Rick's only shot is that the ice rod is not in Turtle Rock, and he can pick the right place to go before Fred does.
Yeah, absolutely. Fred, yeah, if ice rod isn't in Turtle Rock, Fred is more than likely going to do Big Bomb before he does either Ice Palace or Misery Mire. I know I would, because, hey, I don't want to have to go through the entire Dungeon of Doom. But if that's the case, then after that, where do you pick? Do you pick Mire? Do you pick Ice? Which one is the option here? I mean, they're both long, drawn-out, obnoxious dungeons.
Yeah, indeed, that is true, but I think Mire is perhaps a little less obnoxious than Ice Palace, and it also has the green pendant, so I would probably go there first, but it's a tough call.
Yeah, the green pendant, I think, is what pushes it over the top here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. So we're getting down to the end here, the last set of chests coming up pretty soon in Turtle Rock here, so Fred is really hoping for that ice rod to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to go ahead and make our way down here. So here we are.
All right, this is it. Let's see what's here. Blue rupee. That's not the blue thing we want to see.
Nope. Right color, wrong item.
Compass. Pizza Heart. That does give him another piece, so it's a nice little refill there. But this last chest...
No, it's not the ice rod! No!
Oh, now this is really interesting! Where could it be? Oh, we still have a race, ladies and gentlemen. We do not know where that ice rod is.
Wow.
Now, Fred still has a bit of an advantage since he's found out first, so now he's on the hunt for it, but it depends on whether he can get to the right spot before Rick does. I see Chad is praying for the ice rod to be with Shahabadu so that they have to get that green pendant out of Mire.
I don't disagree with it. I always love seeing a nice, good green pendant troll.
Yeah, that is always fun, and it would be kind of appropriate with that bottle troll at the beginning of this seed. It would be a nice bookend.
Yeah, Fred going ahead and going to pick up the big bomb here. While it's not going to give him the item he's looking for, it is going to get him these silver arrows.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be happy to see that, because that was one advantage that Rick would have going into the Ganon fight there. And I'm sure Fred is comfortable with doing silverless, but he's definitely going to be more comfortable not having to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who might have just joined us a little bit late into the race, we keep referring to the bottle troll here. This is a very linear chain reaction style seed, because you see the sick kid in Kakariko Village had the Moon Pearl, which is fine, but the only accessible bottle without the Moon Pearl was held by the Landmolas in Desert Palace. Also fine, except that the only way to get to Desert Palace was through Titan's Mitt and Ocarina, the Ocarina of which was in Agina's cave, which was the last cave on the Overworld and Light World that both of our runners checked.
Indeed, and you had to find the mirror beforehand so that you could get back into Desert to take the back way into it. Very, very interesting start to the season. It opened up a bunch from there and they had places to go, but that beginning was very, very specific in a way that I haven't seen in other matches in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, again, we have the option of Fred can go to Ice Palace, Fred can go to Misery Mire. Fred's first going to go check the catfish, though.
Ah, yes, he hasn't checked the catfish yet. I forgot about that. We saw the catfish a while ago from Rick, and he didn't have anything. Soggy rupees, I believe.
Yeah, it was, I believe he just went down to the bottom of the wishing well.
Yep. Yeah, so that'll help Rick out a little bit. That'll slow Fred down a bit while Rick makes his way through the rest of Turtle Rock, only to discover, to his dismay, the ice rod is not there.
Rick
Yeah, this seed is quite a thing.
Oh yeah, this seed has been not pedestal required, but we've gotten everything else.
We've gotten some pretty good trolls that you could get outside of pedestal being required. Like, other than pedestal, I don't know what else this seed could really give you. And it looks like Fred is heading... It looks like he's going to go to Ice Palace.
Yep.
He's heading to the lake. Yep, he's definitely heading to Ice Palace, so this is going to be interesting. So, like I said, I think it's probably about a toss-up between the two, but I think I agree with you that the green pendant being in Mire, I think, pushes it over the edge, so I would probably go to Mire, and we'll see if Rick makes the same decision when he finds out that Ice Rod is not in Turtle Rock.
Also, chat, we know you're hyped for Ice Palace, so let's see some SNES Freeze emotes in there, get that Ice Palace hype.
This is an ice decision. Thanks for those good puns, chat.
See? Chat, yelling at us for making the puns. Chat contributing to the delinquency.
I like it. So there's the map. So we're going to be watching these chests pretty carefully with Fred here, because this is the only thing that we are looking for. Basically, it's going to come down to who finds Ice Rod first. Both players have the silver arrows, so Ganon should not be a problem. The first person to find Ice Rod is just going to go straight into go mode, back to Turtle Rock, and finish this seed off.
Is it potential that we can get the one of our esteemed tech staff in the back to queue up the chorus for Ice Ice Baby for when the Ice Rod chest is actually opened?
Oh, Fred, going for the one bomb strats in this room here, but didn't quite get it there. Oh, but does manage to get it the second time. So Rick is now making his way through the final chests in Turtle Rock, and he's going to be very upset when he discovers this. Although, he doesn't know quite where his opponent is. Ooh, getting knocked off the ledge. That's going to lose a bit of time, but he doesn't know this, but he's going to be disappointed to not find Ice Rod, but that's actually good for him since Fred was there first.
Yeah, and Fred here opting to take the non-speedrun route through Ice Palace. And what I mean by that is normally you would have that set of red blocks pushed up and you have to bomb jump over. So this tells you that Fred, he's looking for items, looking for chests. So he's taking the term we used earlier, quote, developer intended route.
Yeah, and that's going to take a bunch more time because you have to make multiple kind of trips around the dungeon in order to get the big key and to set the the blue and orange blocks the way that they need to go. Although you do get to break the block puzzle in the dungeon since they have the Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, and Rick opting for Ice Palace. So that unfortunately for Rick, going to be not the choice he wanted to make there. Yeah,
the choice that Rick needed to make was to go to Mire, unfortunately. Of course, he doesn't know that Fred's already in here, but again, I think that given that the green pendant was in there, like you and I said, I think we would have gone there first. Of course, it's easy to say that in hindsight, knowing that Fred's gotten most of the way through here and hasn't found Ice Rod yet, but, them's the breaks. Although chat does recommend perhaps an alternative song to play when we finally find it, which is Cold as Ice.
No need to sacrifice our ears.
Not a fan, are you?
Not that I'm not a fan, it's more along the lines of it was a funny joke to make, that's all.
Alright, Fred's firing an arrow into the block there as he makes his way through Ice Palace. Might be getting a little bit frustrated looking for that Ice Rod. I don't blame him. So if this is not here, is there any other spot on the overworld that they haven't checked now? Does it have to be in Mire or possibly the green pendant item?
At this point, yes.
I can't think of any other place on the overworld they haven't checked yet.
I can't either.
Oh, Chad also wants to play Let It Go if they find the ice rod as well.
I think this is the first time in forever I didn't reference a Disney song.
Indeed. So we're getting close to the end here. Fred is finishing up the last few chests here. And oh, there's a hard container. Oh my goodness, is it not going to be in here? Is it in Mire? Is it with Shahabadu? Do we have the ultimate troll to end this seed?
You know, I think having it be with Shadaloo would be the best option at this point.
Is it? That's a key. So I believe that's the last chest. So Cold Stare's got to have an item. So Cold Stare could have it.
Rick going ahead and Rick doing the speedrun path through the dungeon.
Yep, Rick doing the bomb jump there to get over that gap while the orange blocks are up. So he's going to save a bit of time on that. So maybe catch up a little bit. That would be pretty cool to see that. So if Cold Stare doesn't have this, that would be really funny because if they end up having to go all the way through the Misery Mire, then they'll end up actually completing all the dungeons and getting all the pendants anyway. White Brian's, no, it's not the Master Sword pedestal. The pedestal is a jar with a blue potion, since we checked that earlier. So Fred now breaking that block puzzle with the Cane of Stamaria. I wish I knew you could do that when I was a kid, because I remember that block puzzle giving me trouble when I was a kid. I didn't realize that you could actually push the block down from the floor above.
Yeah. But anyway, we're going to be dropping into Cold Stare now. Fred opting to go with Fire Rod strats here as opposed to the Bombos Medallion.
Yeah, they have half magic, so it shouldn't be a problem either way, but yeah, if you use Bombos, it will take out the ice surrounding Cold Stare in a single go. And I guess the Fire Rod is perhaps a little bit faster, maybe that's why he opted for that. But the downside of using the Fire Rod, if you don't have the half magic upgrade, is that it is... No, it's a red rupee! Oh my goodness, it's gotta be in Mire!
Big surprise, a red rupee. That's been the ultimate in trolling technology here today.
It really has. Every time we've gone a place looking for the ice rod or one of these key items, we've gotten the red rupee troll. Oh my goodness, this seed! Misery Mire is living up to its name. Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, I am not disappointed with this seed tonight. Oh, anyway, like I was saying, with Rick coming up to the Cold Stare fight as well, the only downside of doing the Fire Rod strats on Cold Stare, if you don't have a magic upgrade, then you need to use your entire magic bar, and you cannot miss a shot on Cold Stare. And it looks like Ether is the one that is required to get into Mire. Well, and that's also bad news for Rick, because he doesn't have that yet. It's not very hard to get, but...
True, but bird toss. We might get a bird toss.
Oh, we might get a bird toss. Are we going to get a bird toss?
No.
No bird toss. Boo. Yeah, so Rick is going to lose a little bit more time because he'll have to go get Ether. Ow, that's even more of a troll. And, you know, when you think having Ether in the Lumberjack's hut, they might not ever go back and get it. He's going to have to go get that. Ether, for those of us who are just joining us here, haven't seen the start of the race, Ether is at the Lumberjack's hut. So they have killed Agahnim, so it will be simple for them to get that, but it's just a little bit more time that Rick is going to lose, and Fred is already having a pretty big lead over him at this point, knowing that he has to go into Mire. That's really interesting. If he had gone in here first, that could have really played into Rick's favor, and that might have turned this whole thing around. And like you said, I think that, I mean, it's easy to say in hindsight, knowing now that Meyer was the correct play, but since it was the green pendant, you know, I think it was right to go in there in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. And forgetting that Rick didn't have the ether, you know, it makes sense for him to go to Turtle Rock because it's one less thing to Turtle Rock Ice Palace. It's one less thing he has to go back and acquire. But again, I still stand by the fact that Green Pendant made my decision for me if I was doing this. Of course, there's a reason I'm on this side of the glass.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, and you turned out to be right. And, you know, chat raises a good point. It turns out after all this, Agahnim was required because you needed to kill him to get ether to get into Meyer. That is a heck of a troll.
That is one heck of a troll. And, you know, hey, it's probably the best thing we could have gotten next to pedestal required. Because basically this is pedestal required at this point.
At this point, it's looking like it is. Fred's found the big key now, but he doesn't have too many more chests to check here, so it's possible that it might be with Vitreous or possibly with Shahabadu.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, if I'm in this run at this point, it's like, just let it be Green Pendant, let it be with Shamalama Ding Dong, and we're fine.
Yeah, and then you've basically got your pedestal required at that point, chat, because we've cleared all the dungeons.
However, I will say, the thing that can make this even trollier is having Ganon's key be in the right side tile room.
Well, that's true. We haven't seen how trolly Ganon's tower is going to be. So I have to wait and see there. Although, at least they found the silvers before going in there.
That is true, but the way this seed's been going, you pretty much had to.
Yeah, indeed, they pretty much checked almost every spot in the game at this point. So, unless the silvers were in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see the amount of chests gotten, because we're going to be seeing, you know, X out of X instead of X out of Y here.
Indeed. So there's another chest here, and there it is!
There we go! Unfortunately, we do not have a sriracha sauce required, but there it is, the ice rod finally rearing its cold, ugly head deep within the trenches of Misery Mire.
Misery Mire, indeed, living up to its name. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't have to kill the boss and we didn't get all the dungeons done, but that was still a heck of a troll.
I can't complain about that level of trolling there. And Rick discovering, oh crap, I need ether. So he's going to go ahead and go pick up that, as Fred is picking up some delicious blue and red Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I like that decision to go and buy some potions here since he's got the 3 bottles. Definitely good to have those going in. He's going to go finish off Turtle Rock and then head to Ganon's Tower. So very decisive advantage for Fred right now. He is in go mode.
Absolutely, but go mode coming at the near 2-hour mark. So at this point, Fred's got to be like, Rick's got to be done. Rick's got to be done.
Indeed.
Like, why isn't Fred done? Why isn't Fred done? And we're all like, we know why they're not done.
Yeah, indeed. It's not often you see go mode happening almost 2 hours into a seed when they've already gotten 6 out of the 7 crystals, and the 7th crystal dungeon is basically all clear.
Yeah, literally, it's go to the boss room.
Yep, exactly. And actually, I don't remember, did either of them open the secondary entrance into Turtle Rock? That would save them a little bit of time here.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't recall either. It didn't seem that important at the time since we were looking for Ice Rod, but I don't think it'll really make a difference here, but just an interesting little thing to note. Now, chat's saying they think Fred did, so... And Rick did as well, so yeah, they might have both got it. Yeah, they both opened the second. Alright, so Rick has ether now, so he's about to head into Meyer. Gonna finally get the good news of where Ice Rod is after 2 hours.
The one good thing for Fred, of course, here is... doesn't have to worry about any chests. He can just go through the path. Go to the end of the dungeon. Pass go. Collect 200 rupees.
Yep, we've already done all the work in this dungeon, gotten all the chests. We don't need to worry about any of that. So yeah, I mean, this is basically 100% seed at this point. We've almost got 100% here.
Yeah, this has been right up there with worst possible seeds, and Rick going for the Bombos kill here on the Wizrobe room here in Mystery Mire. Always fun to see that happen. Unfortunately, 2 Wizrobes were in their ethereal phase, so Bombos does unfortunately not work in the ethereal plane.
Indeed, he's just going to have to take a couple swings to take them down there. But nice thing about Wizrobes in this game, they go down in a single sword hit at least once they become visible, and they're not that hard to avoid. So definitely much easier to fight than Wizrobes in Zelda 1, which is what I'm used to.
Yeah, can we not bring up Wizrobes, please?
Indeed, they are nightmare fuel. At least in that game.
Yeah, I know at this point at the 2-hour mark, I'd be looking at my SRM like, why isn't there a dot done? What the heck that's going on? Why isn't there a dot done?
Yeah, I think they've both got to be expecting a dot done anytime, not having any idea where the other racer is. I imagine they've both got to be sweating bullets right now.
People use it as a phrase all the time, and the only thing I can say is, that's gotta hurt. I mean, sweating actual bullets out of your skin, that can't be a fun process.
Yeah, no, I would imagine not. It looks like Fred is now going into the boss fight. Got fire and ice rod, so hopefully he'll have no trouble here taking out Trinex. He's got the butter sword as well. Oh, looks like he was about to get the ice breath off, but Fred managed to stun him before then.
Yeah, but okay. Now that we have got Trinex's shell exploding, and we're going to be getting the 7th chest here, we have one final game we want to play with chat interaction coming up. And that, of course, is where and what number item in Ganon's tower is going to be the big key. So we have 22 options for the big key in Ganon's tower. So please, get your guesses in now. I go with 16 all the time, so we need to stay with 16. Dork?
I'm going to say... Oh, I typed 1 by mistake, but I'm going to go with 13. Although... I say that, but knowing this seed, it's going to be number 22 at this rate.
Yeah, it's going to be tile room.
Yeah, the way that this seed's been going, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they have everything they need. They've got red mail, they've got butter sword, they've got silvers. There's really nothing else left they need. All we need to do is find where the big key is, and it's just a question of how much it's going to troll them.
Yeah, and of course, considering we also had boots super early in this seed, we're going to be asking for bonk counts a little bit later, and I would imagine we're also going to see a pretty high bonk count number as well.
Yeah, I would guess that that's the case, yeah, since they got boots so early, like you said. There's been a lot of bonking going on.
But Rick now is going to be able to get the ice rod here as he's finally to the room where the ice rod is.
Check the first 2 chests. There's 1. There's 2. Nothing yet. Just some rupees and some bombs.
Alright, so that is numbers 1 and 2 as we are continuing our way down into that. Number 3 there is the bonk item, which is the Pizza Heart.
Got another Pizza Heart, and that's another full heart container for them.
But Rick has acquired the ice rod, so he can now make his way over to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, it looks like Fred has opted to take out Bob, so rip Bob.
That's just 4. Oh, 5. So if you guessed number 5,
ooh, that was fast.
Correct.
That was a pretty fast big key. I'm surprised at that. The way this seed trolled them the rest of the time.
Yep.
It's going easy on them at the end.
But killing Bob there is going to come back to haunt him.
That's true. That is bad luck on your seed, I believe.
Yeah, you never want to kill Bob. But all things considered, the seed had to, give something. The beginning of the seed, you get all kinds of good items early. You got Boots, you got Hammer, you got Titansmith. The middle of the seed, the supposed cream filling between the Oreo. Yeah, this was more like rotted cream filling. There was nothing fun or pleasurable about the middle of this seed. And at the end of the seed, looking like it's going to be, that other delicious chocolate cookie half. So.
Yep, and it looks like Rick is now finally heading back into Turtle Rock after getting the ice rod. So he's just hopefully going to go straight to the boss without any trouble. But unfortunately, it looks like at this point, it's pretty unlikely that he's going to be able to come back from this. Fred would have to do really, really poorly in the Ganon fight or something like that. He'd have to fall a bunch of times or something because he has the silver arrows, so I don't imagine he's going to have very much trouble here.
No, I mean, if he does happen to fall on the Ganon fight, that could be a big old equalizer. But considering the lead that Fred has at this point, it's going to take more than just one fall for Rick to make up the time loss.
Yeah, and that is not impossible, but I have to imagine that Fred is relatively practiced at the Ganon fight at this point.
However, we do have to factor in that, Moldorms have been the enemy of Fred this entire seed, as he had 3 deaths to the mini Moldorms, plus Moldorm in Tower of Hera knocked him off the top. So Moldorm 2 could be a thing.
That is true. That is very true, so we'll have to see what happens when he gets to the Moldorm 2 fight. Doesn't seem to be having much problem at all going through most of the main rooms here. Ice rooms being a little bit annoying, but using the Bombo strats for safety here, not a bad call at all, especially since they have the half magic.
Yeah, and especially because there are a couple of guaranteed full magic drops coming up, because you do need the Fire Rod to continue through Ganon's tower, so he is guaranteed to take care of that. And speaking of, trolling possible enemies, we've got some delicious land mowers here, and Fred are trying to go silvers on them, and land mowers like, yeah, no, not happening.
Yeah, it looks like chat believes in Moldorm 2. That he turned this seed around. I don't know about that. He's gonna have to do something pretty special in order for that to happen, but who knows? Now it looks like got the Land Molas 2 fight is done. So it's time to head upstairs. And we'll see if anything happens here. We've got the Wizrobe room first, so nice Cane of Samaria strats in that room.
I have the laser hallway here. Rick.
Ooh, just missing the last slash on that the Wizrobe in this room here. Almost got the speed run way of doing that room.
Hey, it's always fun when you can pull off the speedrun strats, the first time that I ever block clipped in Zelda 1, I, squealed like a schoolgirl. And yes, I just admitted that on the internet.
Ah, that's fine. Nobody really minds. But yeah, it's always exciting when you can get those strats. They look really cool. They're pretty swag. And they're cool as they're, impress your friends.
I may or may not have brought up screen wrapping and block clipping at the arcade bar up here.
Well, I can't blame you. That's some good bragging rights there.
Yeah, but
all right, so Rick's now in the Trinex fight.
Yep,
like
that's
he shouldn't have much problem
to. You beat me to my transition, so on that the Trinex fight. So good job there.
Yeah, it looks like he gets the 1 round on both heads there, so nicely done there. It's only going to take a few swipes with the Butter Sword to finish him off, as Fred is heading into Moldorm 2. Oh, and, he's using the cape strats.
Fred's like, you're not kidding me this time. We're going.
Oh, I think he knew we were talking about him, and he went with the cape strats for safety.
Yeah, he was making
I can't blame him for that.
No, made sure Moldorm was incapable of knocking him off the ledge. And are we going to get a validated run? No, Fred's bombing the validation chest!
Oh, run not validated. Run not just not validated, but insulted.
That's awesome!
I believe that is an instant DQ. Well, Chad is rioting now since Fred decided not only not to validate, but to bomb the chest.
There's nothing wrong with that at all, as this Agahnim fight is throwing Fred
Oh, at this rate,
here.
someone is going to break into Fred's house and destroy a Super Nintendo.
Yeah, Chad is absolutely rioting there.
Like Fred having a pretty good Agahnim 2 fight there, not too many rounds. And he's ready to head off to Ganon here, as Rick has now entered Ganon's tower, and he's just begun his hunt for the big key. Now, of course, we know it's not going to take him very long to find it, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to do him any good, because Fred is going into Ganon.
Yeah, unfortunately, just the overworld routing mistakes for Rick, and they're really even mistakes. They were the right calls to make at the time, just the wrong gamble. So there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the way that Rick played this seed. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Just the gambles were wrong, and that happens sometimes.
Yeah, indeed, it does. Like I said, I think we might with the benefit of hindsight, we could perhaps fault him for going into Ice Palace instead of Meyer because of the green pendant. But it was basically a toss-up at that point. You really can't say that one or the other was super incorrect.
Yeah, absolutely. But now Fred going ahead and getting into the second stage of the Ganon fight. Of course, he does have silver arrows. Going to opt to drink his red Kool-Aid first here. But with the with half magic and silver arrows, it's going to be a pretty trivial fight, all things considered. I say trivial because being able to get the torch glitch, even if you don't get it, is still you're pretty fine. Torch glitch, of course, here is this left-hand light is going to go out first, and if you can light it before the other one goes out, which Fred did not do, then you only have to light one. But again, not getting torch glitch when you have silvers, not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's only really a tiny little time lost there, and Fred's got a big enough of a lead. The main thing was he missed his first silver arrow shot there, so looks like he is struggling a tad just to pin Ganon down here and freeze him and stick him with the silvers, but gets a nice little double hit there, though. And this could be the last hit.
That is the last
All right,
hit.
Ganon is down.
So, all things considered, the seed was very trolly.
It was very trolly, and Fred is done.
So Fred is going to go ahead and finish in first place with an SRL verified time of 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 52 seconds. So chat, at this point, we have got about 8 or 9 minutes worth of cutscene and end of game scenes to go through. So think about them now, but get your bonk guesses in, everybody.
Indeed, like the only thing the seed can say at the end is GG. And I don't see either runner in Discord, so I don't know if either of them are going to come in for an interview afterwards or whatnot, but, well, if not, then congratulations to Fred on his victory. It was well fought, and that was a heck of a seed.
Yeah, that seed was absolutely trolling it, and we're still not quite done with it yet, as Rick, barely able to potion before the spikes say, nope, you will look tasty, and we're going to turn you into a link kebab, as he's making through his way through the ice portion of our gauntlet.
Indeed, good use of the potion there, just in time. But I don't know if he has any extra potions left over here. And neither of them found the bug net, so they won't be able to catch any of the fairies that they can get with the magic powder either. I wonder where the bug net was. That's the only thing that we didn't find.
It was in validation chest, you watch.
Oh, that's right. It could be there. Or somewhere else in Ganon's tower. We only did get about 5 chests in, didn't we?
Yeah. And unfortunately, guys, I know as you wanted it, you desperately need it, but we're not going to be getting Fred in for a posters interview because waifu decided she wanted to watch the race tonight, so Fred brought all of his streaming stuff up to a different location, so he doesn't have his headset right now. So there is no way we can get a post race, unfortunately.
Okay, that's unfortunate, but that's too bad. Well, nonetheless, It was a very well-fought race. So congratulations to Fred on his victory. It's like, chat doesn't want to hear from Fred anyway. They consider him a heathen for disgracing the validation chest.
But we're going to go ahead and light the torches here. Oh, Rick getting what looked like a frame-perfect thing is he looked like he was facing down, but the fire went to the left.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know if that was a bit of an unintended trick there or what. But Rick's not having too much trouble going through here, so he should be able to finish this off just fine. Although now, I don't think he bought any extra potions like Fred did, though. I didn't see him buying any.
No, Henny, he did use his blue potion already. And Rick, being a little more aggressive than Fred was with Moldorm, opting to use the boot strats as opposed to the cape strats. But let's take a look, see what Rick decides to do for the validation chest here.
Is he going to open it?
No, he's going to bomb it too!
Oh, he's also going to bomb it!
Double bombs!
We have a double DQ! I love it! This is wonderful! Oh, if chat wasn't rioting before, they are definitely going to riot now. Yes, I call shenanigans. I think the two of them might have discussed that plan beforehand.
I don't care, it's awesome.
We have a validation collaboration.
The collaboration's explosive, I love it.
That's it. The entire tournament's been invalidated. We need to start the whole thing over.
Wow. And with the level of troll in this scene, that's the only proper way to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You might assume that they might have planned that beforehand, and it's certainly possible, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they both just spontaneously decided to do that out of frustration.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in theory then, because both of them are technically DQ'd by not getting validation chest, is it considered a draw? How does this work? Do we have to re-race and see if we're going to have the three-way race? How is this going to work here?
Oh, Krim is now confirming in chat that the validation bombing was not planned. So that is just phenomenal. So Rick is finally on the Ganon now. He's quite low though, and he doesn't have any potions. I'm a little concerned about this.
Yeah, this could be, half a heart. Rick,
Ooh.
Be careful.
This is careful.
Scary. This is really scary. Oh,
no! Got hit by the bat.
No.
Now that's not too costly a death, because I believe you start right back on the pyramid. Yeah, you do, so at least you can just walk right back into the fight.
See, chat, there's Ganon taking out his revenge on Rick for bombing the chest for you.
Yeah, chat has no sympathy. That's what you get, Rick.
Also, go ahead and bonk counts ready, everybody.
Yep, we've got the stats coming up on Fred's side, so I'm really curious to see how many chests we got. 133 out of 160.
Yeah, that's crazy.
170 out of 216 total item locations. That's extremely high. I'm not sure if that's the most that we've seen this tournament, but it might be the most that I've seen.
That's definitely a large contingent of items. And Rick now is getting ready into the second stage of the Ganon fight.
Hopefully this will go better than last time. He does have a bit more health this time. It looks like he's getting ready for the torch glitch as we're going into the last phase.
Yeah, opting to go ahead and forego hitting Ganon as he opted to get the torch glitch instead. I do like that call here. But
Yeah, that was a good call, and it looks like he got a double hit off the first time, so I think he's on his last hit now.
Yeah, he will be on his last hit here pretty soon. But this has been, the second time around, a pretty good Ganon fight, all things considered, and that's going to do it.
There we go.
Yep,
so that was a double hit on the first one, then the single hit on the third.
And
nicely done. That was very
bonks for Fred. Wow, that is a large number of running into walls.
54 bonks.
And that's going to do it for Rick. He's going to finish with a time, SRL verified, of course, of 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 31 seconds.
And that's a GG to both our runners for putting up with that incredibly frustrating seed.
Yeah, that seed was just freaking incredible.
Yeah, I've got to say, we didn't get a pedestal required, but we almost completed all the dungeons, and we had some really trolly placement of items, like with the ice rod, and just some really interesting stuff, like the back entrance to Desert Palace being required. Just a really interesting seed overall.
Yeah, 100%. And it's definitely one of those things where it wasn't a pedestal required, but it might as well have been.
Yeah, pretty much. It was everything but.
And we are not getting Fred here, but we do have Rick. Rick is now here in the room with us. So, Rick, I want to apologize now. I'm sorry.
Blame TGE. That's all I have to say. Rick sigh.
Indeed.
Please, no more indeeds.
So I'm certain that certain people would like to know exactly what happened.
Actually, the only thing chat wants to know is, did you and Fred both conspire to both bomb the validation chest?
He did?
Yes. You
oh my god!
That was probably the highlight of the race right there.
I didn't even know he was planning on doing that.
Yeah.
Like, I already thought I finished, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna just bomb this chest here. It's nothing to me. I got the silver arrows. I've got everything but a bug catching. And the bug catching is gonna do absolutely nothing for me for this end of the game, so kaboom!
You know what? I bet the bug catching net was probably in that chest knowing this seed. Oh, that's really funny. Chat was saying collusion right away. It's screaming it, but I thought, the way this seed went, I could just see them being frustrated and just doing it spontaneously.
the time,
Yeah.
and then it had it.
And that's why I did Aga 1 before I actually went to him. I'm like, 300 rupees? God, the old man has it in Agnes Cave.
Yeah, and when I saw the
Like,
300 rupees, I walked back and I just sat there for a second because I didn't remember what I'd forgotten.
Like, I spent a good deal of 40 minutes probably thinking, Fred's gonna dot done, Fred's gonna dot done, Fred's gonna dot done. Where the hell's the dot done? Is he getting trolled just like I am?
The time. I had a bad start. I think I was probably
And that's
behind
what-
you most of the way because I died in the hype or whatever that cave is down near with the mold worms. I died there 3 times.
Oh, I had a half a heart remaining for it, and I was like, oh, nice place for a piece of heart. Thank you.
Yeah, 3 deaths in that one room.
Good news. I got a workaround, and they can hear us again.
Oh, good.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
Yeah, good. So
All right,
apparently we both had the same decision to bomb the validation
Chat
chest.
wants to know, Fred, why did you bomb the validation chest?
Because I can.
Well, there you have
There
it.
you have it.
My
So-
answer is because I already saw Fred finished. I'm like, screw the seed, put it out of its misery, and whatever that item, I have no intentions for grabbing it.
It was probably the bug
Come
net.
My other big question here is the chain of events leading to the Moon Pearl. What were your thoughts on basically having the only required bottle to get it be in Desert Palace and having to take the backdoor entrance to it?
It's pretty
was-
fun.
I was so ready for that moon pearl to show up in the top right cave there in the desert, and then when I found, well, I would definitely want that.
Yep, that's pretty much what went through my mind. I was like, okay, this is gonna be the moon. Nope. Okay. Well, I guess that means I'm supposed to go to Swamp Palace now or something. But and at that point, I think that was where it had to be there. And then, oh look, bottle. And I was like, what? Oh, I never got that.
Then you realized.
Oh yeah.
And that the other 2 bottles you guys found were in the Dark World, so that had to be it. That was the only bottle you could get.
Yeah, no, it was the required bottle. Everything else was either there or sitting in the sitting on the pedestal. Even
Yeah.
yeah, because that's where the goo was.
Yeah,
You ever
you had
see
a required bottle, and you had to do the back entrance to Desert Palace to get it.
I've seen it happen before in some of these commentary seeds, so nothing. I don't think anything really surprises us anymore, except for I was just so hoping the ice rod would be in the Mimic Cave or the Final 4.
Same here.
Ice
Turtle
Rod
Rock,
needed,
yeah.
Ice Rod needed to be Sahasrama's item, though, for the ultimate in trolling technology.
Greenleaf, this was already a 2.5 hour seed. Hadn't we suffered enough?
Yes, but the rest of us were enjoying the entertainment.
It was pretty entertaining.
Well, I'm glad we could make it that entertaining for them then. But nonetheless, good luck to you, Fred. You apparently are going to be in a 3-way now.
And that's what I wanted to ask next. Fred, thoughts on the 3-way race?
Just gonna do my best on that one. At this point, I'm already on gifted time here in this tournament, so anything extra I can pull off is great. But one and done type races, just gotta do my best.
Just hope you don't get a seed just like this one.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not.
But since this is my final race as far as a participant is on the playing end of it, definitely want to thank the admins and everyone who put this thing together because it was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed getting to discover this, and watching as my average decided to take a nice little nosedive tonight, but it was a lot of fun though.
No one's average would have improved really on this seed unless they had played like one seed before this and then just improved on it. That wasn't going to happen, but it was a great race, Rick.
Yeah, good job there, Fred.
Stressful, but
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. So with that, thank you both very much for providing us with an entertaining, albeit trolly race.
Yeah, thank you,
and-
both of you guys, for commentating. It was definitely, I'll definitely be listening to hear how you guys reacted to it.
Lots of giggling and squeeing.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
boy.
Maybe I might want to take some sedatives before I listen to it.
Yeah, turn your headphone volume down. But with that, that is going to do it for us here tonight with the Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. The next race we have comes up for you tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be right here on Speed Gaming. And that is going to be Amazing Ampharos versus Muskie. And Rick, I believe you're on that call, if I'm correct.
Yep, I'm looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun with that race. I'm definitely certain that after the seed that they Mutt had today, probably would love to have a much calmer seed tomorrow night.
Yeah.
A calmer seed and hopefully more puns.
So with that, everybody, again, if you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you click the follow button on both of our runners. That is, again, is AdirondackRick and Fcoughlin. Again, big shout outs to Mythical 9 behind the scenes here. He has been the tech guy for us through both of the restreams we've had tonight, so big shout outs to him as well. If you guys haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that follow button here for Speed Gaming, because all kinds of tournament madness comes your way here. And on behalf of my broadcast partner, Dorkmaster Fleck, I am the Greenleaf Effect, reminding everybody that, of course, no matter what it is you are currently doing, it is always correct to blame me. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.